Good evening, welcome to Year 1 TV for the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. My name is Dan Blake and my camera has decided I have a face for radio, so apologies, it's decided not to play ball. But luckily you can see the face of the one and only Reece Saunders. Good evening, Reece. Another good day's racing in prospect for this meeting. I hear that Tuesdays with the MX-5s around here was a very good view indeed.
Tuesday MX5s. It was hotter than the weather, Dan. It was a fantastic night of racing. Hoping the TCRs tonight will live up to the gauntlet that the MX5s have thrown down. I just thought you'd not changed the bulb in your office, but no, it turns out webcam issues you've got there. But now, really looking forward to this. Obviously, back at Silverstone International, the same as Tuesday night. We saw how important the draft was down the back straight in the MX5s. Hopefully it'll be just as strong. We'll get plenty of overtaking tonight and plenty of wheel-to-wheel action as well. So really looking forward to it. I think the cars are just about to start going out for qualifying. We'll join them in a few minutes, but we've got some recaps and some stats to go through for you from last week. So Dan, if you'd like to take it away.
So, of course, as we saw last week, we were racing at Brands Hatch Indy, the shortest circuit on the BSR TC calendar, and it did produce fantastic racing. Although through the overall winners, we only actually had we had two different winners. We had James Neve and Paul Cook showing out the victories, and as we see, it was a very interesting meeting as well. Also, there were some exclusions as well later in the week, which we'll have a look at sort of later on as well, and. So there are some changes that we'll need to discuss, but Brands Hatch Indy also a completely different track to what we see as we now look at the results. Of course, last week race 1 was won, as I say, by James Neve of year 1. Wayne Douglas finished on the road second. Apologies for that. That is the race 4. We're going to get that sorted for you straight away. Also worth noting as well that we thought Wayne Douglas may get excluded from race 1 for not missing qualifying, and that did happen. So it was the actual results for Paul Cook who took the win. No, we scratch out Wayne Douglas. Andy McEwen was second and Lee Holmes was third. It didn't affect the Pro-Am win, which went to Martin Shirley, and also there was no effect in the Am win, which went to Alistair Hatcher, another Am win for Alistair, who started extremely well. And as you see there, the top 10 was all sorts of mixture. We're now shortly going to have a look and see what happened in race 2, and that was a race that was won by James Neve. He won that one from his teammate Andy McEwen at year 1, with championship leader Paul Cook in third. Once again, it was Martin Shirley taking the Pro-Am win. Lee Holmes rounded out the top 5, Luke pulling 6th, and then our first Am through was Luke Jones in the Audi RS3, finishing in 7th, Rob Jackson 8th, Ian Manners in 9th place, and Alistair Hatcher rounding out the top 10. Race 3 was a very interesting race, and it really was. Ian Manners, I think the star of race 3, the Pro-Am driver in the Veloster, he drove a really good race and finished on the podium. He finished in second place as well to show, but I think that was one of the standout drives of the season so far from Ian Manners taking that second place. He did hold on extremely well under pressure. It was a race that was won by Paul Cook, but the results will come up very shortly. It was Paul Cook and Ian Manners, though, in the first 2 places. It was Ian Manners who took the Pro-Am victory. You see there, it was Lee Holmes rounding out the podium in 3rd, Martin Shelley 4th, and Luke Pullen 5th, with Andy McEwen 6th, James Neve in 7th. There was Wayne Douglas 8th, Craig McDonald 9th, Reece Watt showing there in 10th place, but Reece Watt was actually disqualified after the race meeting for an incident. So the Pro-Am, so the Am win in race 2, shall I say, for the first time this season, went to Mark Oliver. So Mark Oliver took the Pro-Am win, took the Am win in that one, finishing 11th on the road, but with the exclusion, moved him up into first place now. Glenn Humberstone 2nd and Luke Jones 3rd. And then the final race of the evening, it was just starting to get dark. We saw the headlights ablaze in that one, the 4th race, final race from Brands Hatch, which was round 8 in the championship, and it's been an extremely fought championship, but already from the early stages of the season, it looks like it is going to be a fight between year 1 and the team from Syntec, and that is what happened in race number 3. James Neve took the victory for year 1, his second of the evening, Wayne Douglas, as me and Reece said last week, probably the most unluckiest man in the championship, sometimes through his own wrongdoings and other times just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He got it right, finishing in second place. Andy McEwen was in third. Pro-Am win, taking his third Pro-Am win of the night was Martin Shirley, with Lee Holmes in fifth, Paul Cook in sixth. Luke Pullen and Ian Manners 7th and 8th in the Pro-Am. And this time, Reece Watt did get to keep his win in Am, finishing 9th overall. And rounding out the top 10 was Craig McDonald. So that is how things were last week. So, as of course, with 2 meetings gone, we can now start to have a look at the Drivers' Championship. And to see, it's Paul Cook for SimTech Racing, who does hold the championship lead with 715 points. James Neve is in second place with 684. His SimTech Racing teammate Martin Shirley leads Pro-Am, but is third overall with 665 points. Lee Holmes is fourth on 550. Then we come to the first of our AM drivers, Luke Jones in fifth place with 536 points. A great effort from Luke Jones in the JWM Motorsport car. Ian Manners is sixth in the Veloster, with Craig McDonald seventh, Luke Pullen eighth, Alistair Hatcher ninth, and Wayne Douglas rounding out the top 10. And as we go further into the championship, we've got Rob Jackson in 11th, Joe Winter, the star of night one at Donington, not able to race tonight as he was unable to last week due to work commitments. He's in 12th. We have Jose Fitzpatrick in 13th place, with Andy McEwen taking his first race meeting of the season in the last meeting at Brands Hatch, having to miss the Donington opener. He finished in 14th. Glenn Humberstone 15th, while Fiona Siddon 16th. Mark Oliver 17th. Kip Stevens is 18th. Craig Shaw and Andy Slocum are tied for 19th place on 122 points. And that is the full championship table. So I'm going to hand over to Reece now for just to overview a little bit of what happened last week. Reece, as we say, we saw 4 fantastic races at Brands Hatch Indy, a very different circuit than we had now. And I believe that you'll have some stats in the moment to go through with us. But a very, very entertaining evening in Kent last time round.
Yeah, it was the second great week of action in a row out the 2 weeks we've had of action. So here we are. So here's some stats. So Paul Cook has been dominant so far, really, in the TCR series. He's been very strong. He's got 3 race wins already. He's battled with 2 further podiums as well. He's only got a lowest race result of P8, which he got at Donington Park. He had a bit of contact at cleans in race 2 there. So he's doing very well. Average finish of 3.25. And as I say, yeah, doing very, very well. Say 5 podiums out of 8 races. He's got to be happy with that, and he's surely got to be our early favourite to dethrone Andy McEwen from year 1. Obviously, Andy missing a round as well due to real-life touring car commitments. So he's been on the back foot a little bit. He's here tonight, though, so we'll see how it shapes up. But it is looking very much like a year 1 versus SimTech Racing battle at the front. Obviously, James Neve with a win last week as well. So very, very tight at the front. But we're looking forward to quali. So we're about halfway through qualifying now. 7 minutes, 30 seconds to go. And currently, I believe, just so I'm looking over at my timing screen on the second screen, as we can see the beautiful view of Silverstone just there. It's Chris Warner leading the way currently with a 108.769, leading by just under half a tenth from Wayne Douglas, who I've got no idea if he's banned from qualifying anymore. I'm not sure Wayne Douglas knows
Not
at this
today.
point either. No, he's good apparently. Martin Shirley in P3, very, very strong showing for the Pro-Am there. He's been fast on the Pro-Am so far. And then we've got Paul Cook in P4, Michael Steele ran out top 5 with his teammate James Neve in P6, Andy McEwen currently in P7, so 3 year 1 cars in a row just there. It's looking quite tight at the top, as I say. Martin Shirley's just a tenth off the back of Chris Warner as well, so not a lot of space between the guys. As I say, we're getting into the final 6 minutes or so of qualifying. It's definitely the business end down. What do you think is going to be the key feature there? Have you driven on this Silverstone International layout before in your real life?
I have, yeah. I raced it in the MX-5s. It was either 2020 or 2021. It's a good circuit. It's some of the best bits of the Silverstone circuit are on here. Speaking of sort of some other sort of notes to bring from qualifying is that we won't be seeing Craig Schill or Reece Watt in this session. They have been excluded from qualifying for infringements last week. As I said, Wayne Douglas is fine for this week. He had the exclusion from race 1 last week, so that penalty is seen as served. Also, we have a team change as well for Chris Dixon in the number 900 car. He is joining the team over at Year One Racing, and we also have another Year One driver joining us for the first time this season, which is Michael Seal in the 57 car. This is his first appearance of the season. He was very high up in the championship last season, Michael, and he was actually the driver who had the most pole positions last time round, so a perennial good qualifier. Another driver making his first appearance this season as well, someone who Joe Winter did mention would be fast when he arrived, is that 570 of Chris Warner, another Simtech racing driver. So Simtech and Year One bringing out a lot of fast drivers for the championship. It just seems week on week they're introducing more. It's almost like it's BSR Royal Rumble, because one week you have different drivers and the next one comes the following week. So hopefully we won't see brawling of a particular type in this one, but at the moment the Simtech drivers are drafting together down the Hangar Straight, and this Silverstone circuit on the international layout, very different to what we saw at Brands Hatch last week, shall I say. It's a very quick circuit. You got the run into Abbey, and then you go down through in towards Village, and then you go down the loop into the you got the section in between the two tracks where it connects onto the Grand Prix circuit, and then you have the long Hangar Straight, and I think we'll see some good overtaking action down the Hangar Straight. Also, you've got the braking point into Stowe Corner, and then from Stowe Corner you have the run down Vale into Club Corner, then onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight to end the lap. And Silverstone International Circuit, which I think will produce some really good racing, and a series completely different to what we had last week at Brands Hatch Indy, which was a narrow, quite short circuit where overtaking was a challenge. I think we'll see a lot more moves this week.
Indeed, yeah, and what we saw in the MX-5s on Tuesday. You can overtake into pretty much every corner. We saw them passing in Abbey, we saw them passing into Village, we saw them passing into Stowe, and if you didn't get the move done in Stowe, you had another crack at it into the Vale corner. I think 3 out of the 4 races on Tuesday night were decided with the last lap of the race passes. So very much, you've got to be there at the end. But I say, Chris Warner still on pole position with that 108.769. It's Douglas, Shirley, Cook, Seal, Neave and McEwen. No movement there. As I say, we have just seen, however, Craig McDonald improve to P10. That puts him in 3rd place in Pro-Am there as well. And a shout out as well to Andy Slocum, who's now up into P13 in AM, and also leading the AM category so far as well. I know he had some bad luck last week when he in the TCRs at Brands Hatch, he struggled to finish 3 out of 4 races, so he'll be hoping for a better night, a better place to do it from than the class pole position just there. Interesting as well, we have got such fantastic AM representation. We've got 6 of them here tonight, and 3 fairly balanced classes actually. We've got 6 AMs, we've got 6 Pro-Ams, and then we've got 7 Pros as well. So say, very, very evenly balanced field here. One that will provide plenty of action all the way through the front to the back. I'm just looking across into our YouTube chat, however, and I can see Joe Winter cheering on his Simtech teammates from his hotel room. He's wishing Rob Jackson to get well soon, so I don't think he's very well, and that's why he's missing out tonight. But no, good to see you, Joe. Thank you for tuning on in. But yeah, 2.5 minutes to go, so probably enough time to get 3 laps in, depending on when you cross the line. Maybe we'll see people grab a fresh set of tyres for one last Hail Mary. Depends on what the tyre warm-up's like here at Silverstone.
Yeah, I'd say with just over 2 minutes to go, looking at that top 8, it is extremely juicy. I think any one of those top 8 could conceivably win this race. You've got Chris Warner, Wayne Douglas, Martin Shirley, Paul Cook, Michael Seal, James Neave, Andy McEwen and Lee Holmes. And I truly do think that any of those 8 pro drivers can take a win. That's just sort of how closely matched the British Sim Racing's touring cars have been this season. As we look at the driver, Michael Seal now, just going down into Stowe, the car they're looking quite sort of edgy on entry. And this lap currently for Michael Seal, there is no green sectors currently, but Wayne Douglas, interestingly enough, in sector 1 has gone quicker, a 15.308. So Wayne Douglas potentially on a quick lap, and towards the end of the qualifying session, wouldn't that be something if he's able to put that one on pole position? He is only just under half a tenth away. Some more cars cross the line now. The Year 1 quartet come through. No change there, and I believe that Martin Shirley and James Neave are in the pit, so there won't be improvements for those 2 drivers. That is their qualifying session over. In terms of Wayne Douglas, not quicker, and has actually lost quite a bit of time in Sector 2. Lost about 2.5 tenths there going through into Sector 2. So he's got to have a good last sector if he's going to go quicker. Behind the Simtech Racing boys, it's not a good improvement. It is a 109.639. Lost a lot more time as well in that final sector. So Wayne Douglas not improving on that lap. But so 36 seconds to go. It looks like at the moment we could see a pole position on debut for Chris Warner. I've raced with Chris Warner previously. He is a very quick driver. Bit surprised to see him in touring cars though. He's raced a lot in GTs, so it is good to see Chris out in the touring cars, and very, very quick as well the process. No improvements in the top half of the field, and say 10 seconds to go. This will be the last time that a lot of these drivers will cross the finish line, as the checker flag will be getting ready. Barney is getting that flag ready, and we will see him wave it with that passion and furious waves as always, as the cars now starts to get ready. So what we have now as they go through club for the final time in qualifying, the Simtech boys very wide there across the line, but there's no improvement there for any of those three drivers. As we look at Michael Seal going down the Hangar Straight, he is currently 4th in the Pro Class and 5th overall, as we see him just about to finish his qualifying session now. Looks very smooth compared to the previous lap. The car looked a little bit unstable under braking, but looks like potentially the tyres. That's one thing that they don't have to worry about, is track limits, because in fact Michael Seal doesn't have to worry about anything. He is coming into the pit, so that is the end of his lap. And this is qualifying. Oh, don't hit your teammate, Andy. Cessford will not be happy just by a new back bumper. So, what do you think then, Reese, about these qualifying results? Is this what you sort of expected? Is there any shocks in there for you?
Yes, so as we were testing the broadcast pre-season, there was a testing event held Thursday before our Donington Park race. And as much as we missed Chris Warner in the first two race meetings, he was top of the charts actually in that session, so it looks like he's carrying that form through into the season. A little bit later in joining, but he's making up for lost time for sure. So yeah, we've got Chris Warner taking the pole position here. I think we'll get the grid loaded up in just a second. And yeah, Martin Shirley proving that maybe Pro-Am isn't necessarily the class for him, in third place as well. And so Wayne Douglas breaking up those Simtech guys. We know he'll be in the mood to send it, because he always is Wayne Douglas, wily competitor. Been racing obviously since the 90s, Dan, I seem to remember you saying from last week. But as I say, the field's starting to grid up now, so we've got just shy of 2 minutes. So Dan, who's your pick for race one?
I'm going to go with Wayne Douglas. I think, as I say, he has, in real life, he is a McLaren Autosport Young Driver of the Year nominee. He's won the Open Wheeler Championships as well in the mid-90s. So he just needs that bit of luck, and I think Silverstone will be potentially where it happens. As you see the grid, on pole position is Chris Warner, with Wayne Douglas in second. In third place on our Pro-Am pole is Martin Shirley, with championship leader Paul Cook in fourth. Michael Seal, fifth in his first appearance this season. He'll start alongside his teammate James Neve. Last season's champion, Andy McCure, maybe a little bit disappointed down in seventh. He is joined on that fourth row by Lee Holmes. And rounding out the top 10 is Ian Manners in the Veloster and Craig McDonald in 10th place. We have 19 cars on the grid. 11th is Luke Pullen. 12th will be Fiona Siddons. 13th is Andy Slocum, who is our AM pole sitter, shall I say. 14th is Luke Jones of Alistair Hatcher. 15th, Glenn Humberstone 16th. And new year one signing Chris Dixon in 17th. The two cars which are not on there, who did not qualify, are Reese Watt and Craig Shield. They are both excluded from qualifying as a result of infringements that happened during last week's racing. And cars now just starting to get on the grid for the last minute, perhaps about 30 seconds maximum before this race gets underway. And we saw in the Formula 1 Grand Prix this year drama at the first corner. Hopefully we won't be seeing scenes like that. That's those scary scenes of a few weeks ago with these British sim racers touring cars. And the start is the same as the Formula 1 start. We are on the Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight, and the cars will take the launch, and then they will go all the way into that fast right-hander at Abbey. Still just a couple of cars towards the back of the grid that are yet to join us, and as soon as they do, here we go then. So we have some drivers who are not actually starting this race. So here we go, for the 9th time this season, the lights go on, And out they go. We are away, and it's a good start from Chris Warner. One of the year one cars further back has a dreadful start and is falling down in the order. That's Luke Pullen. At the front, it is Chris Warner who leads the way. Wayne Douglas is in second place. There has been a change for third place because Paul Cook has overtaken Martin Shirley. So that is a change between the two SimTech drivers. But as they go through Village for the first time, it does look quite orderly and quite calm. But as we've seen a lot this season, it is the SimTech driver on the front of the pack. It is Chris Warner. He is already starting to try and pull away a bit of a gap for Wayne Douglas, but with the slipstream and the hanger straight, I think he's going to try. He's going to find it very hard to find that gap because the slipstream on the hanger straight will be quite significant as they drop it into Stowe for the first time, and looks maybe potentially a little bit wide there from Chris Warner. That's going to allow Wayne Douglas the opportunity to catch up as they go down towards Vale and into Club for the first time, Reese.
Yes, a great start there from Chris Warner in the SimTech racing car. Wayne Douglas still being the thorn in the side just there. And you got Paul Cook making his way up into the podium positions in P3. Martin Shirley, and it looks like Paul Cook actually goes through the inside as we come through Club. And I say he's attacking Chris Warner as well. I don't know if that's tactical, I don't know if Shirley and Warner have both got slowdowns. I think they have. Martin Shirley also drives past Wayne Douglas on the side. And we've got a bit of a scrabble there as we head through Abbey. Wayne Douglas virtually pushing along Martin Shirley. He's up the inside into Village. Oh, he almost collects the back of Chris Warner as well. A clean move. Oh, a bit of contact just on the exit. They'll get. No, they won't get away with that through the loop. He'll save that though with a front wheel drive. No, he won't. Martin Shirley tried it once. He tried it twice, but the third time he did manage to get the kill. As I say, Wayne Douglas dropping back to P9, really shaking the order up here. I know he was a pick for us at the start of the race. We won't be happy with that as well. We have called him the unluckiest man in BSRTC, and yeah, he's proven that tonight for sure. So it's SimTech Racing 1-2 now. Paul Cook leading Chris Warner. Michael Seal picking his way through the melee into P3 for Year 1 Racing, and then you've got Martin Shirley in P4, maybe with an asterisk next to him name there. Then you've got the 88 tech car of Lee Holmes. Wayne Douglas though, he's got fire in his belly, and he's been hitting the rear again. But he's got fire in his belly. He's made the move through past that Year 1 car there. Let's say made the move cleanly into Vale, and say he's trying to make his way back up into P9. I think Fiona Siddons is just overtaken there. Ian Manners currently in P2 in our Pro-Am class in his Veloster as well. So say great action so far, Dan. Really looking forward to this one. It's going to be spicy.
Yeah, that's a big lunge there from Fiona Siddons going into Club Corner. She was very late on the brakes, no contact made, but it was a spectacular lunge. But Wayne Douglas again, the unluckiest man, as we see a roll on the grass there for Paul Cook, and that can allow Chris Warner a chance to pull alongside. I do believe that there were some slowdowns at Club Corner, as you say, at the end of that first lap. Some of the drivers exceeded the track limits maybe a little bit too much for iRacing's liking, gave them slowdowns. And what that did, that shook the order right up and brought them back together. And then obviously you had the contact further on between Martin Shirley and Wayne Douglas. That'd be one for the Clarks to look at after this race. But so we're going to look at Michael Seal is looking at the back of those SimTech racing cars with interest, loses a bit of time in the middle of Club Corner, but at the moment it is Chris Warner who has the Paul Cook, our championship leader, is in second, Michael Seal third, fourth, and currently leading the Pro-Am class is Martin Shirley. He's leading that by a long way. The next Pro-Am driver in 8th place is Ian Manners. Running out of top 5 is the car of Lee Holmes. You saw Lee Holmes on the podium last week as well. James Neve, our double race winner from last week, is in 6th. Andy McEwen, the reigning champion, in 7th place. 8th is Ian Manners, and we got a driver dropping down the timing screens as well. It looks like there's quite a bit of action going on in the AMs there between Hatcher and Watts, as we look on board now of Alistair Hatcher, who does currently lead the AM Championship. He has got a car right in his grill. That is going to be Luke Pullen in the number 27 Year 1 Racing Hyundai Elantra. That car, interestingly, in the Pro-Am class, and Watts and Hatcher are in fact, it's 3 wide. That is Reese Watt going 3 wide on the outside. Didn't quite realise that to start with, but what a move that is from Reese Watt in the Audi. And that means JMW are now actually 1-2 in the AM class, because it is the car of Luke Jones that leads that class. Reese Watt in 2nd place, and Luke Jones going around the outside there of one of the Year 1 cars. That's Fiona Siddons. So Fiona Siddons potentially about to lose a place as well. These drivers are really fighting it hard here in the opening stages of this race. And wow, as we see, Reese, action all through the field here at Silverstone.
Yeah, no, they're battling hard up and down the field. 3 wide there into Village. So on the outside of our top 10 there, you got the 2 Year 1 cars on the JWM Motorsports car there as well. You got Craig McDonald now. He's going to have a great run on Luke Jones coming out of Chapel just there. So I say again, it's a big long, it's an iconic run down the Hanger Straight here. So slipstream very powerful in these touring cars as well. And he's gaining. Will he go inside? Will he go outside? He'll figure out what his preferred line is for overtaking. Luke Jones Luke Jones just staying ahead, but he got a little sideways on the way in, and that's at Craig McDonald. Get to his outside for Vale. Now it's tricky to go around the outside of Vale, but if you do manage to do it successfully, you'll get the inside for Club Corner. So a lot of give and take here at Silverstone. Luke Jones goes deep. Oh, it almost looked like he was going to run into the back of him. Closing speed was so strong. Looking straight down the tailpipe of Luke Jones here. Craig McDonald in full attack mode. Someone that I'm sure is in full attack mode as well will be Wayne Douglas. He's just 3 tenths back from James Neve at the moment as well. Let's say the gap's starting to separate a little bit at our front of the field. I think this is our closest battle on track right now, Dan. As we look, Craig McDonald sending out the inside into Village. Is he going to get there? No, Luke Jones braves it a little bit later on the brakes. As I say, they're almost too wide. What this is doing is letting Reese Watt, the JWM teammate, close right on up. Got a little bit of tyre smoke there, and as I say, we're going to get some more feisty action. EK versus Mansell down the Hanger Straight right here. Say, guys, I'm sure they're going to keep it fair, but this is going to get spicy.
And of course, you've got two teammates there against one, because Craig McDonald on his own. He's also got the 2 teammates who are actually fighting for the AM lead as well. That's Luke Jones and Reese Watt in the pair of Audi RS3s. Jones is going to try and look down the inside into club brakes very late. There's going to be contact there. Rides the curb. There was a little bit less contact than potentially I thought there could have been, but it is going to be McDonald who just about holds it, although Jones on the inside. This is fantastic racing here at Silverstone. And what these 3 drivers are going to do, if they keep holding themselves up, they're going to allow that group behind to catch up, including Luke Pullen, Fiona Siddons and Andy Slocum, but they're all fighting hard as well behind. And it is pure racing here on the international circuit. We said there'd be overtaking, and that is proving to be the point. But Chris Warner at the front of the field doesn't have to worry about anyone directly behind at the moment, because he has pulled a second lead over the chase-in pack. He leads from championship leader Paul Cook in second. So Simtech Racing on for a 1-2 finish at the moment. In third place is Michael Seal, and the first 3 have really pulled away from the rest of the pack, because you've got Lee Holmes in 4th place, but Lee Holmes a good 2 seconds behind Michael Seal. And rounding out the top 5 is the Pro-Am leader Martin Shirley. Reigning champion Andy McEwen has made up a place against James Neve. He is now up into 6th place, but as we said before, Wayne Douglas not far behind as well. And we know that Wayne Douglas will probably have a bit of frustration from what happened on the opening laps when he was fighting a lot further up the field, probably maybe a little bit quicker than the 2 cars in front of him. We'll be looking to try and get past the year 1 pairing of Neve and McEwen. But up front, as we've seen many times so far this season, Reese, it is the Simchet drivers 1-2, and looking at the moment as if another race victory is looking ever closer.
Yes, indeed. Chris Warner he's actually pulling away, and that's something we've not seen many people do to Paul Cook this season. He's pulling away. The gap's just under a second right now. Michael Seal almost keeping them honest in P3 there, and then you got that bit of a gap back to Lee Holmes. But then, interestingly, you have got a bit of a train behind Lee Holmes. It's only 8 tenths from Holmes to Shirley, 4 tenths from Shirley to McEwen, 8 tenths back to James Neve, and then Neve's got Douglas Wright for company. Less than a quarter of a second between them. So I say, really tightly bunched there in the second half of our top 10. And Craig McDonald still leading the JWM racing cars there, but it's Reese Watt now ahead of Luke Jones. Say, nice close battle there as well. So here we are. In fact, we're riding on board with our champ, number 1 car, Andy McEwen. Currently sat in P6, and you can see his view. You can see he's got those 2 cars in front of himself just there. And he'll be seeing what he can do. You've got Martin Shirley there, P5, leading the Pro-Ams, and he's been holding his own against the pros all season long. So we'll be seeing if he can make the move stick, and then if he can get after Lee Holmes as well. Obviously, Lee Holmes here, the only one running without the slipstream down the Hanger Straight. So always at a slight disadvantage. Although he does have the clean air here, Dan, which will affect the touring cars.
Yeah, Lee Holmes, also one of our biggest movers as well over the course of this race so far. Up 3 places, started in 7th, up into 4th place. And we saw last week that Lee Holmes had that podium in race 1 and in race 3. So a double podium for Lee Holmes, recovering from what was maybe a bit of a disappointing Donington Park for him. And when we were talking earlier, we said about how Andy McEwen had missed a meeting. But don't forget as well how the impact on the championship, they do get the drops rounds as well. So although the fact that Andy McEwen did miss the opening round at Donington Park, that could be used as his drop score. So he still has opportunities as the rest of the season progresses to get further up the championship. But as you say, I think the Simtech Racing boys are going to be pretty hard to beat at the moment. But as we said last week, the main battle is Year 1 and Simtech. Year 1 with some very fast drivers as well. And once everyone gets their full strength teams together, it's going to be good racing. And if there's a week where you get Joe Winter, Chris Warner and Paul Cook together in one meeting, that's going to be quite a formidable team. But then as well, Michael Seal adding to the Year 1 effort. We've seen James Neve and Andy McEwen performing well as well. And it is just going to be really intriguing later in the season to see what happens. But we're now on board with Wayne Douglas, who has the 2 Year 1 cars ahead of him. The first one is James Neve, our double race winner from last week. Then, in fact, Wayne Douglas heading towards the pits. That's very unexpected. Potentially maybe a penalty or something there, Reese. But Wayne Douglas having an unexpected pit stop there.
Yes, very odd, very unusual. I'm going to look over at my timing screen to see if that is going to be due to a drive-through or not. Let's say we know he had some contact early in the race, and in fact I think he did get a little bit of contact from Fiona Siddons too. So it'll be interesting to see what this is. Or he might have even been carrying a meatball flag. I think you can do 5 laps with a meatball flag, so we'll see. But yeah, very strange seeing pitting at this stage in the race. He hasn't stopped. He is just doing. Oh no, he has stopped.
Oh yeah.
It's a strange move. As I say, it's not a feature race here. You don't have to make a compulsory stop. It might have just been a splash and dash for fuel. Might have just run it slightly tight. And yeah, potentially just running out of fuel there. But say it's going to drop him right back to P18. The good news for Wayne Douglas, though, and it's a stretch to find him some good news at this point, is that even though he is running all the way at the back, the beauty of BSR is it's 4 races tonight. So he's going to have 3 more bites at the cherry. And he's also as well, I'm going to stop talking about Wayne Douglas just for a moment, because we've got a corking fight unfolding down the hang straight, almost 3 wide into Stowe there. You've got Alistair Hatcher in P14, you've got Luke Jones in P13, and then it's Craig Schill in front of him. Obviously, Schill serving his qualifying ban in P12 now, making some progress through the field. And yeah, beautiful move up the hanger straight. You can see the car bouncing over the curbs there. Beautiful. I love the car leaping through the air like a salmon. We've got Alistair Hatcher. It looks like he's going to lose out. Oh, not quite. And he's big air for the 501 car there, Fiona Siddons across the curb. But she's managed to keep it pointing the right way. Joys of front wheel drive down. The traction there will always just pull you back in line.
Yeah, as you say, that's a massive curbage being taken there, and that's what they're going to do here. Imagine what happens when we get to Knock Hill later in the season. There could be some spectacular scenes from there, but Fiona Siddons keeping that car under control, keeping it at one piece. Another thing maybe for Wayne Douglas, potentially taking a repair as well there. It was it was almost as if it was a sort of a stop and go, but there wasn't. I don't think it was fuel. He just seemed to be very quick for that. So it'd be interesting to see what the score was there. But this battle, I would say, Alistair Hatcher, who's currently sitting 3rd in the AM class at the moment, 14th overall, and the car ahead of him is Luke Jones, and that will be for 2nd in AM. So a close battle here between those 2 cars, and Luke Jones defending on the inside in the RS3. We've seen him do this before, pushing wide. He's done the same again now. He pushed wide going out of club corner. Just having a look on the timing screen, and there is no change there. But at the front, there has been change, because Paul Cook has all of a sudden started to reel in Chris Warner as the cars are on their final lap now. Just 30 seconds left to go. There will not be another lap left, so maybe too little too late for Paul Cook, but it's starting to reduce the gap. But Chris Warner heading into Stowe for the last time. It has been a perfect race. The Simtech Racing driver in the 570 in his debut in the championship as well, of course. It's his first meeting with us, and as he goes down the Vale for the last time, braking hard into club corner, the checker flag will be waiting for Chris Warner. No trouble there going through club, He takes the final corner now, and the victor of the night round of the championship is going to be Chris Warner for Simtech Racing. Takes the lead and the win ahead of his teammate Paul Cook in second place. It's a podium as well for Michael Seal in third place, his first of the season in his first race. In fourth place is Lee Holmes, taking the Pro-Am win, although potentially, provisionally, there was that contact with Wayne Douglas, but the car of Martin Shirley takes fifth. Andy McEwen in sixth with James Neve in seventh. Ian Manners is in eighth place in the Veloster. Ninth is Craig McDonald, and rounding out the top 10 and winning the AM class was Reese Watt. So our class winners were Chris Warner in Pro, Martin Shirley in Pro-Am, and Reese Watt taking the AM victory there for the JWM team, JW Motorsport, in the Audi RS3. And that race was blink and you miss it. There's so much to go through, but I think once again, Chris Warner, it was a really good drive there, Reese, wasn't it, on his debut? He looked so composed, and it looked like, I'm sure he was sweating in that cockpit, but it just looked like a nice Thursday evening stroll for him, really.
Yeah, no, he controlled the race. He kept Paul Cook at arm's bay, which I say isn't too easy, and I say two Simtech cars, top two steps of the podium, with Michael Seal in P3. We'll have some stats in a moment to take you on through, and then we'll be over to the spinning wheel of fortune for the reverse grid draw for race 2. As I say, Chris Warner winning, and I say looking bloody strong whilst he does it as well. He'll be hoping for a nice low number on the spinning wheel so that he can try and repeat his success again. As I say, race 1, they're always good. They always set the tone for the evening because it's where people qualify. You don't have the jumbled up, so you get to find out who's got what when it comes to pure pace. And as I say, it looks like Chris Warner is our strongest member so far with that. But as I say, looking forward to... we're getting told to hold up. We're getting told to stand by. But yes, so looking forward to race 2. So we should have a full rundown of results. They're just being booted up. I think our graphics gremlins are working overtime right now for us to bring those to us. But no doubt, a very enjoyable race 1, and say sets the tone for the rest of the evening.
Oh, exactly, Reese. And as I said in qualifying, this top 8, I don't think there's really much separating them in terms of pace either, from Chris Warner to James Neve in 7th, just 7 seconds. So if we do get a low number, like we had a couple of lower numbers last week, I think the order, even though it'll be jumbled up, it will be good racing because the fast guys will be together. And as I say, Chris Warner taking a debut win in the series, and it's a good start. As we see there, the podium is Chris Warner for Simtech Racing with his teammate Paul Cook in second, and then Michael Seal in third place. And as I say, I'm really looking forward to this reverse grid draw. But before we do that, here is a quick rundown of the results. It was Chris Warner who took the victory from Paul Cook, as we say. Michael Seal rounding out the podium in third place. Fourth place was Lee Holmes, another good finish for him, and our Pro-Am winner, Martin Shirley. Andy McEwen in sixth place with James Neve in seventh, just behind him. Eighth place was Ian Manners, so Craig McDonald ninth, and in 10th place winning the AM class for JW Motorsport was Reese Watt. And just outside the top 10 in 11th was Luke Pullen. Luke Pullen did well. I think he had a very slow start, moved his way up the grid, moved it through the field, shall I say, during the race, and takes an 11th place finish with Craig Shield in 12th, and then Fiona Siddons representing Year 1 in 13th. Andy Slocum 14th, and in 15th place was Wayne Douglas, who saw the pit stop for him during the start of the race, and that's hopefully for Wayne Douglas, it's a higher number. It could put him back in contention. In 16th place was Chris Dixon taking a finish in the AM class. He had 3 non-finishes last week, so it'd be good for him to start the night with a finish. In 17th was Alistair Hatcher, and Alistair Hatcher was one of those drivers who saw battling, and Luke Jones as well. So potentially there were some issues in that AM class towards the end, because a real shake-up there in the results of Hatcher 18th, 17th, and Luke Jones 18th. And our non-finisher, who will not be eligible for the reverse grid, was Glenn Humberstone in 19th. So less talking, more spinning with the reverse grid wheel. Let's see what the destiny of the second race is going to be. I think it is going to be, is it 8 or is it going to be 12? It is just going to stick into 8th place. And what 8th place does in terms of the order is put Ian Manners on pole position. And we saw a brave drive from Ian Manners in similar circumstances last week. But what that will do is put James Neve and Andy McEwen second and third, Martin Shirley in fourth place, and Reese. It's just what I said could happen with this low reverse grid. This is going to be an absolute belter, I think, ahead of us.
Very delicately poised, and say Ian Manners started on pole just like he did last week in race 2. And in fact, it was James Neve that started beside him, I believe, in race 2. There we are. We can see the behind the scenes there of the spinning wheel. But say, yeah, James Neve starting P2. He's got to be fancying himself for the race win here, repeating last week's success. Then you got Andy McEwen in P3 there as well. Paul Cook will probably be rubbing his hands with Chris Warner. Because say both of them a nice low number will give them the best opportunity to move forward and potentially get back towards the podium here in race 2. So yeah, so really looking forward to this one, Dan. Say it should be an absolute belter coming right up. But say race 2, they'll be gridding up soon, so I think we might take a short break in the next couple of minutes, and then we'll be back with, as I say, race 2 of the BSR TCR series.
And of course, Reese, after the second race as well, that will be the quarter mark in the season as well. 10 races out of 40 will be completed. And it's just flying by, this championship. But as we say, we will be taking a quick break shortly. And then we'll be back with round 10 of the BSR TC from Silverstone International. Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome back to Silverstone International for our second race, our 10th of the season. That first race we saw Chris Warner take victory on debut from Paul Cook and Michael Sill. The reverse grid though, quite kind to them. It is an 8-car reverse, which means that Ian Manners will be on pole position for this second race of the evening. We saw Ian Manners near the front of the field in race 3 last week at Brands Hatch in the Veloster, and it will be interesting to see if he's able to put in a display like he did similar then. It was a very brave display from the Pro-Am. We have just over a minute left before we go to the grid for our second race. I say it's the 10th race of the season. After this race, we will be at the 1 quarter mark in the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship, and with the top 8 being the reverse, as we say, that means that there are some drivers who will be right near the front of the field, and some of the very quick guys as well. Obviously, we have our top 8 being reversed, and it's going to be intriguing to see what happens. Just having a look now at the practice times, and it is the car of Chris Warner who is fastest at the moment in the pre-session test session, but Wayne Douglas is in second place and Lee Holmes in third. So I know you can't read too much into these pre-race practice sessions, but what's going on there is it looks like it's going to be very similar to the first race, I believe, as well, that joined again by Rhys Saunders. Rhys, what are your predictions going into the second race of the evening as we're just about to get ready to go to the grid very shortly?
I'd like to make a prediction after lap 1, it'd be a bit easier. I think Ian Manners, I think he'll do well. He'll hold his own just like he did at Brands Hatch. Whether he'll be able to fight for the overall win, I'm not so sure. That being said, I think the Simtech cars do have a touch more pace versus year 1 this week. And therefore it'll be interesting to see if they can actually get by. You've got Neve and McEwen in P2 and P3. And so you've got Michael Seal as well, starting all the way back in P6. So it'll be really interesting to see how they manage to pick on through. As we've got now just under a minute before the lights go live, we'll have the grid pop up just now here for us. Just waiting for the graphics to do their thing. But we will have, so even if we don't get graphics, I'll run through the order for you. So we'll have Ian Manners on pole position, James Neve in P2, Andy McEwen starting third, Martin Shirley, a Pro-Am winner from last race, in P4, Lee Holmes rounding out at top 5. Then on and then it's Michael Seal. Then on row 4, we've got Paul Cook and Chris Warner, our 1-2 from race 1. Craig Dodd in P9, Reese Watt in P10, our Pro-Am winner from last time out. Then it's Luke Pullen in P11, Craig Shill P12, Fiona Siddons P13, Andy Slocum in P14, the recovering Wayne Douglas in P15. Hopefully he's got enough fuel in it this time by. And it's Chris Dixon, Alice Hatcher, Luke Jones and Glenn Humberston just rounding out our field in P19. We're going to get the lights right now, so it's over to Dan for our race start.
Thank you very much. So say the lights are about to go on, and for the 10th time this season, it is going to be lights out. We are underway here at the Silverstone International. There's a car that's stalled in the middle of the pack. Will everyone avoid him? Yes, they will. But at the front, it is James Neve almost side by side with Ian Manners. And to go into Abbey for the first time, Manners is able to hold on. Andy McEwen there had a great burst of speed out of the second part of the corner going through Abbey. He's going to go down the inside towards Village. It's the 2 year 1 teammates side by side. And there's also always been contact as well behind. That is Martin Shirley that has had contact, I believe, in the first day Simtech cars. There's further contact. Wayne Douglas I saw there. Broadside across the track. It's a year 1 car going way off the track. It's getting a ticket to get back in at this rate. There's a wheel missing as well, I believe, from that car. Or maybe I don't think it is actually. It's Fiona Siddons. So Fiona Siddons in trouble on the first lap. She is going to tow back to the pit. But at the front, it's been all changed because Andy McEwen who has got the lead of the race with James Neve in second place. And there we go, the Simtech driver Martin Shirley putting pressure on him. Ian Manners not had the best of first lap for Reese, but side by side they go into club for the first time between the year 1 teammates, and it is James Neve to pick up a third win in the space of a week.
Yes, but he's got a much closer company this time, but he's got Andy McEwen, who's been all over him through lap 1. These G1 boys, they need to work together because they've got Martin Shirley, who's looking like he might poke at the inside into Abbey. We've got Michael Sill in P4. He had a little bit of contact on lap 1, but he's doing okay. Paul Cook made it up to P5 from P7 at the start. In fact, Michael Seal just getting past Martin Shirley. Oh, and he's been touched on the way into village, but he'll be okay. I think Martin Shirley, bit of a bump and run move there almost. And so this is just letting the front two get on away. Paul Cook keeping a watching brief. But yeah, Michael Seal just keeping ahead. He's in P3 where he finished the last race, but he's going to have his work cut out. These Simtech boys look for a fight. And so Wayne Douglas, we lost him unfortunately on the opening lap, as well as Fiona Siddons as well. So Douglas in the pits. Fiona Siddons, obviously we saw her have to take a tow after she lost the wheel. But I say, frenetic action as we come towards the close of lap 2 here.
Fantastic stuff, and very wide there was Martin Shirley. That could be potentially a slowdown penalty, and it is going to be a slowdown penalty. So a Pro-Am winner from race 1 has a slowdown, drops him down into 5th place. Has he served it? I think he has just about served it now, but that could actually be quite strategic because it allows Paul Cook, who's arguably a faster driver, still not slowed that slowdown. Of course, early in the race, the slowdowns are brutal. But at the front of the field, as we said, it is James Neve, Andy McEwen and Michael Seal. It's the 3 year 1 cars side by side and still not served that slowdown as Martin Shirley. And that's costing him now positions in Pro-Am, down to 3rd. But as James Neve goes through village, through into the loop and down into the link, he has potentially 2 rear gunners in terms of Andy McEwen and Michael Still, but we know that there's no team orders in year 1, and these drivers will all want to fight it out as much as possible. But for James Neve, he's not too far behind in the battle for the championship lead, but that's not going to matter to Andy McEwen. Andy McEwen, late on the scene in terms of the championship, looking to get points, goes down the inside and takes the lead from his teammate as they go down towards the bell.
Yeah, Dan, I fondly remember our jousting in the skippies. There's definitely no team orders here in year 1. And you mentioned about having 2 rear gunners. Well, it's a full squadron of year 1 cars here at the front of the field at the retired airfield is Silverstone International Circuit. But swapping places may be tactical between them. Andy McEwen, he's got his one on the car for a reason, and we'll see if he can break away. Paul Cook, he's got his work cut out. He's just at the fastest lap of the race, however, 1 minute 19.348. So he is gaining on these 3 just here. How he fights them though, it's 3 versus 1 at the moment. It'll be good to see. I say Ian Manners leading the way in our Pro-Am category in P5. He had a bit of a disaster at the start, but say with that terrible look there for Martin Shirley, getting us off track on the outside of Stowe, making it through to the front. Chris Warner, our race 1 winner, currently running in P6. But yeah, charging back on down to Stowe Corner now down.
And another driver who's made a lot of on the first lap, Luke Pullen as well. I believe it was 11th for him in the first race, already up into 7th place. But the battle at the front between the year 1 drivers, Andy McEwen pulled out the slightest of leads at the moment to James Neve. It's about 0.3 of a second. And then just behind Neve, that's that curve there from Andy McEwen there being taken. And of course, these drivers will be wanting to win at the boss's home circuit as well, of course. Graham Sessford living local to the Silverstone venue. So Team Boss also be keen to have some good results on home soil. But Paul Cook is hanging with these 3 year 1 drivers, and he did have the fastest lap of the race, but that's now been taken by his teammate Chris Warner, who's dropped up into 5th place past Ian Manners at 109.175. As Cook looks like down the inside, Michael Seal, that was very close there. Very close. That could have been a much different ending there, but both of the drivers driving sensibly there. No contact, very good racing. But I think Paul Cook may be starting to get a little bit of impatient. But if they keep battling, he's going to have a friend along soon as well. Because I say Chris Warner now clear of Ian Manners and is looking to catch up with his teammate Paul Cook.
Yes, but I say line astern. We'll be taking a look back now though at our AM category. I say Reese Watt leading the way so far. It's a great night to be called Reese, I'm sure. I say he's running P12. He won race 1 as well. And say he's currently making his way through Stoke. He's got a bit of a gap back to Andy Slocum, who was at AM class pole position at the start of tonight's proceedings. Alistair Hatcher in 3rd in category, and then it's Glenn Humberstone and Luke Jones. Luke Jones, he was running very strongly in race 1, but he's currently back in P16. So we have still lost just Wayne Douglas and Fiona Siddons. Wayne Douglas, I mean, he can't buy a race result. I'm not saying that the BSR stewards can be bought, but maybe Wayne Douglas, his real life budget, can go towards it. But now Andy McEwen still leading the way. Michael Steele still in P3, defending from Paul Cook. Chris Warner in P5, and I say Ian Manners still leading the way. As we look, Andy Slocum, he's got the 14 Valsa Hatchet up the inside. Going to be clean. He runs nice and wide, giving himself plenty of space just there. So too wide as they cross over the loop and then into the exit of Chapel. I don't know what the name is for the loop into the on the international circuit. So maybe we can make our own corner there. But maybe it can be Cessford Corner is being the suggestion in my ear as we charge on down to Stoke Corner once again down.
The official name for it is actually the Link, but we can go with Cessford Corner for this broadcast. In homage to our producer Graham, of course, once again doing all the great work behind the scenes, and the Year 1 boys doing great work on the track as well, with it still Andy McEwen leading the way from James Neve and Michael Seal, and it looks like they pulled out a couple of car lengths maybe on Paul Cook as they go down into Village towards the loop for what will be the 7th time of asking, and we're nearly at the halfway point, and exactly are now at the halfway point in the race, and Paul Cook caught up very quickly there to Michael Seal from Village through to the loop. Michael Seal has lost a bit of time to his 2 Year 1 teammates, and I think you'll find that coming towards the end of the hanger straight towards Snow Corner, he is going to be under attack potentially from the SimTech driver of Paul Cook. Is he going to go for the move now? No, very restrained driving there from Paul Cook. He potentially could have had the opportunity to go down the inside, but has not done so. But they're side by side nearly ahead for the lead. Andy McEwen and James Neve fighting hard, and Paul Cook, to some extent, is he playing sort of the waiting game and wondering if anything's going to happen in front? I wonder, Reese.
Potentially so. It's going to be very difficult for Paul Cook to overtake at the moment, though. And the reason being is, yes, he's getting a slipstream off the back of Michael Seal. Michael Seal's been pulled along by both his teammates as well. And it's so much harder to overtake when you're in one of these draft trains. We see it in Formula 1 in real life when they've got a DRS train, and it's exactly the same in saloon cars and touring cars as well. And that's James Neve. He's got hard off to the left and hit the wall, I believe. Just snap left there coming through Farm Curve, and yes, that's going to shake it up. Obviously, it's 2v1 at the front, yeah, it's strange. He seems to be stuck. I don't know if he has got damage on the front left there. I'm assuming he has, but it almost looks like he's had a wheel disconnect potentially. So potentially a wheel failure there. But yeah, James Neve had to tow back to the pits. So strange incident. But yeah, he's definitely going to be out of this race, I think. We've got a replay coming up. Dan, talk us through it.
Yeah, it looked like, as I say, potentially a technical issue for James Neve there in terms of the equipment. He's going, everything looks fine. Goes around the corner and then hard left. Yeah, that is a hardware issue and very hard into the barrier. And we were saying off air actually just before the start of this race that James Neve had a really good run and hadn't had a DNF consistent, and that is just the last thing that James Neve would have wanted. But it's very, very sad to see, because not only is it going to affect the second race, of course, but it's going to have a knock-on effect for race 3, because it looks like he won't be eligible for the reverse grid. But while that's been happening, Chris Warner has pulled the 2.5 gap that was between himself and his teammate Paul Cook. So it is now 2-on-2 tag team action at the front. We've got the Year 1 team of McEwen and Seal versus the SimTech Racing team of Cook and Warner as they go down the hanger straight. Ian Manners in 5th place in Pro-Am, and he's got to place, is in 5th place, and the car behind him is Luke Pullen. So Luke Pullen is about 4 seconds back. So Ian Manners does have quite a sizable lead at the moment in that AM category. As further down, there's a battle there. That's Luke Pullen rubbing paint with Lee Holmes. Lee Holmes maybe a bit further down than we expect, Reese. Usually a little bit further up, but now getting into the thick of the action. And also Martin Shirley as well, getting involved in that contretemps.
Yes, battling hard, as say, door to door, bumper to bumper, and say plenty of space, and given plenty of respect as well. You can get away with a small amount of contact in these touring cars. And say the boys are figuring that one out, pushing the limits of what they can do. It's 4 laps to go here. Race 2 has been living up to the hype for sure. I'm going to say it's a 2v2. It's the Hardy boys versus the Dudley boys at the front of our field here at Silverstone. So we've got Lee Holmes currently leading this battle at the edge of our top 6. It's actually P6 back to what I can see on my time screen, P11. So a mighty, mighty fight there. 6 cars involved. If I can do my counting correctly, it might be 5. But no, really looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. The final few laps. Oh, it looks like they were fighting at the front there as well. What a great view we've got down there, the Hanger Straight.
Oh, fantastic. And also, Martin Shirley looking to move here on Luke Pullen as well. That, of course, is for positioning class as well, with Shirley having that slowdown and dropping down. So second in the Pro-Am class the fight is for. Lee Holmes is probably glad he's getting away from this because they're side by side behind, and also the 2 teammates of McDonald and Shield. At the front now, Andy McEwen with just over 3 minutes to go currently leads the way with Michael Seal in second place. Andy didn't actually take a win last week at Brands Hatch, so if he takes victory here in the second race of the evening, it will be a first win of the season. But we got a lot of racing, I think, to go before we talk about Andy McEwen taking wins. A lot can happen there, maybe a little bit wider. Michael Seal is someone who we put them under pressure. Both Michael Seal and Andy McEwen actually changing teams for this season. They were teammates last year, but it was in a different team. So the 2 drivers have moved over to Year 1 racing together for BSR, and Andy McEwen and Michael Seal 1-2. Paul Cook in third place, and Chris Warner is in fourth. And then we got Ian Manners, who's holding on to it. He's closer to the cars in front than the one behind is to him, which is Lee Holmes, 4 seconds up the road. But with just over 2 minutes to go at the moment, it looks like that he's quite serene at the moment. I think that blue torch paper will be lit very shortly.
Oh, they're definitely winding up. There will be a few stands. We're looking back from Michael Seal. He's got the rear. He's got the view of Andy McEwen in front of him, and he's got both of those Simtech cars, which are used to flying in formation, right behind him. So we come through Farm Curve, breaking hard down into finish. You can see the concertina effect. You can see them getting closer. That is just the quirk of the camera angle. They're not inside of each other. So through the link down into Cessford Corner, as it's now been officially renamed here. You heard it here first, guys. And then off down the Hanger Straight. And so a little bit of a gap forming now for Andy McEwen. He might be fancying himself here, but so Michael Seal is going to get under a lot of pressure here as we're about to come around and take the white flag. All still to play for overall class victory. It looks like Reece Watt's got it in the bag in AM. It looks like Ian Manners has got it comfortably covered as well in Pro-Am. But say, all to go, all to play for, all to fight for in the Pro category.
Yeah, and with to say, they will be getting the last lap board through this time. It will be the final lap. We're going to have just over a minute left to go. So it is the final lap here at Silverstone International. With Andy McEwen in the lead, Michael Seal in second place. Andy McEwen has built up actually quite a nice gap. It's just over half a second. That's the biggest lead gap we've had for a long time. And I think the attention's going to be in for second place here because Paul Cook was looking very close to the rear. Michael Seal makes a little move there. Michael Seal able to hold off there. It's an applause for Michael Seal because that was great defensive work there from the Year 1 driver on his debut this season in the British Sim Racers touring cars. As they go down the Hanger Straight though for the final time, Andy McEwen will have a look in his wing mirror and will feel potentially quite happy about the fact there's a bit of a gap there. With Michael Seal, I think it's going to be too far back to make a challenge. We have Paul Cook and Chris Warner in third and fourth as they go down through Stowe and down to Vale for the final time. Andy McEwen is going to brake hard into the entry of Club Corner. No curb taken there. Michael Seal has caught up a lot. That's the slipstream effect there. But for the first time in the British Sim Racers touring cars this season, it is going to be Andy McEwen to take victory. It is round 10. Andy McEwen's victory. It's a Year 1-2. Trademark that one, folks. Michael Seal in second place with Paul Cook rounding out the podium in third, and Chris Warner, our race 1 winner, in fourth. Taking our victory in Pro-Am is Ian Manners again. Another good drive from the driver in the Veloster. Luke Pullen has finished in 7th overall, 2nd in Pro-Am, with Lee Holmes in 6th. Martin Shirley fights back to 8th place. Quite disappointing result for Martin Shirley considering what he has done this season. Reece Watt doubles up for AM tonight, taking his 2nd victory in the class there. So it was the car of Andy Slocum taking 2nd place, and Alistair Hatcher looks like he's gone into the pits on the final lap. He was running 2nd in class, but Drama for Alistair Hatcher and Am on the final lap means that it is actually going to be Luke Jones who takes third place in Am. So not sure what happened there with Alistair Hatcher, but he has finished the race in the pits. But another race done there, Reese, and it's Andy McEwen taking the first win of the season.
Yes, Andy McEwen getting his first race victory of the season, doing very well there, holding off all comers. Unfortunately, James Neve having that hardware failure, scuppering potentially even a podium shutout for Team Year 1 there. He'll be fuming, and as I say, got to be starting P17 in race 3 as well, not eligible for the reverse grid. Also not eligible for reverse grid is Wayne Douglas and Fiona Siddons, and despite Alistair Hatcher having to retire to the pits on the final lap of the race, he will still be eligible. He will still be classified for reverse grid spinning wheel of fortune. We're just waiting on our graphics guru to pull the results up for us, and then we'll head over to the spinning wheel of fortune and to find out who'll be taking reverse grid pole for race 3 of the evening. Can't believe we're halfway through the evening already, and Dan, as you already mentioned, that is now a quarter of this championship done. It's been absolutely whistle stop, and Andy McEwen, he missed round 1, winning his first race of the season now. That's surely got to be him staking his claim for his title defence in earnest.
Exactly, especially say with the drop scores, that's going to help keep him in a position. And Michael Seal as well on his debut as well this season as well, taking second place, taking points off of Paul Cook as well, who finished third in that one. Chris Warner in fourth, and Ian Manners rounding out top 5, winning the AM class. And we are going to go straight to the spinning wheel for the second time tonight, and then we will bring you the results. So this is going to be what decides the grid for our third race of the evening. It was 8 in the previous race, and I think it is going to be, yet again, another 8. So what that has done is put Martin Shirley, the Pro-Am Championship leader, on pole position, and joining him on the front row will be his Pro-Am colleague, and is going to be Luke Pullen. As we see the results of the race that we have just had there, Andy McEwen taking the victory, Michael Seal second, and Paul Cook in third place. But what that will do, of course, of the reverse grid, is it will put Chris Warner and Paul Cook ahead of Michael Seal and Andy McEwen. And here is the full results. So it's Andy McEwen taking his first victory of the season from Michael Seal in second place. Paul Cook rounds out the podium in third. Another podium for our championship leader, with Chris Warner in fourth. Ian Manners takes fifth place and the Pro-Am victory. Lee Holmes, after getting involved in that fight, managed to put away and finish in sixth place, with Luke Pullen and Martin Shirley 7th and 8th, second and third respectively in our Pro-Am class. Craig Shield finished in 9th from the back of the grid, so that's a great result there from Craig, considering he started a bit further down in that one. Craig McDonald in 10th place, and then in 11th place and winning out. Apologies for the issues with the graphics. We will look to get this rectified as soon as possible. In AM, it was Reece Watt who finished 11th overall, taking his second AM victory of the night, with Andy Slocum second in AM in 12th. Rounding out the AM podium is Luke Jones in 13th for the JW Motorsport squad, and Glenn Humberstone, another AM, in 14th. Chris Dixon for Year 1 taking another finish in 15th, and Alistair Hatcher finishing in 16th place. As we see our timing, it looked like Alistair Hatcher potentially a drive-through there. It looks like there's been a time penalty added after the race, so that could attribute the pit stop for Alistair Hatcher for drive-through, which has added race time. And the cars which are not classified, sadly, James Neve we saw having that technical difficulty. That is to say has a knock-on effect for race 3. Wayne Douglas, the luckless man of the championship, not finishing, but he will also be a retirement. And we saw Fiona Siddons as well with drama on the first lap. So that is the results for the second race of the evening. And the third race, it's going to be intriguing. We have got Martin Shirley and Luke Pullen on pole position. So it's another Simtech and Year 1 front row. So even the drivers, maybe not the quickest ones in the team, they will be duking it out side by side at the start of the third race, Reese.
Indeed. I say not the quickest ones in the team. Martin Shirley has hung with Paul Cook and Joe Winter around Brands Hatch and around Donington Park as well. So he's shown great pace all season long. So he'll be thinking, maybe if I can get a clean getaway from pole, he'll do well. Looking across my timing screen, I can actually see, so yeah, Alistair Hatcher has racked up 15 instants in race 2, which is why he served that drive-through penalty and so got put to the back of the field. We'll be taking a short break now, however, but don't go anywhere. As I say, we'll be here for race 3. And if you haven't already, guys, do feel free to like and subscribe to Year One TV. As I say, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with race 3.
Good evening and welcome back to Year 1 TV. It is the British Sim Racers Touring Cars. We have had half of our night already pass us like a flash. We are now into race 3. It is once again a top 8 reversal, and it looks like Reese as well, but just some follow-on news from race 2 that potentially the issues that James Neve had in that second race could put him out for the rest of the evening. It looks like it is a technical issue that may not be able to be fixed.
There, it helps if I turn the microphone on. Yes, Dan, I managed to use my Team Year 1 inside track and had a quick word with them. Apparently, yeah, James Neve's having some electrical problems at home and won't be back for this evening. So he is currently out for the night. And Andy McEwen was singing Michael Seal's praises, holding off those SimTech guys there. Apparently, he was doing a great job as a rear gunner. We've now got 40 seconds just as the session goes live. So we'll be gridding up. So, Dan, if you can run us on through. And we'll see how we get on here.
Yeah, so Martin Shirley on pole position with Luke Pullen on the front row. The second row is Lee Holmes and Ian Manners, with a SimTech third row, Chris Warner and Paul Cook. Michael Seal in 7th, Andy McEwen in 8th. Top 10 being rounded out by Craig Shield and Craig McDonald. Row 11th is Reese Watt, the AM winner twice tonight, with Andy Slocum joining him on row 6. Then it's Luke Jones, Glenn Humberstone and Chris Dixon running out of top 15. With Alistair Hatcher, Wayne Douglas and Fiona Siddons. So for the 11th time this season, we are going to get the lights on. They will go out now and we'll be underway for the British Sim Racers Touring Cars. A poor start there by the 88 Tech car. That is Lee Holmes. But a good start on the front row, but it's going to be Martin Shirley, I think, who is going to try and fight round the outside of Luke Pullen. They're side by side. Pullen will have the inside line going into Village, but Martin Shirley has got the advantage. Also a good start there from Ian Manners in the Veloster as well, I believe, into 3rd place. But it is Martin Shirley in the lead, Luke Pullen in 2nd. It is Ian Manners in 3rd place with Paul Cook in 4th. A good side-by-side battle behind as well. We've got Chris Warner, then got Paul Cook and Lee Holmes in there as well. But as we go down the hanger straight for the first time, it does look like everybody has gotten through the first half of the lap, okay? Very close, bumper-to-bumper action. Luke Pullen pretty much pushing Martin Shirley down the straight as they go into Stowe for the first time. Pullen going to try and get around the outside. Show you later in the braces, contact between the two. And behind as well, it's Chris Warner trying to get through. That's going to be a slowdown for Luke Pullen, I believe. Going very wide. Well, Ian Manners realised he's going to be slow. But as they go down into club for the first time, Reese, all action again for the 3rd time tonight. Seems like cold tyres having a bit of an effect this time. A lot of wideness going on there.
Yes, 3 wide in the pack. Say fantastic action here on lap 1. Really compressed. Martin Shirley jumping away. 3/4 of a second lead now. Luke Pullen having to pull out of the way. He's going to take a lot of pain, lose a lot of track position there as he gets that serve. Pullen pulling out the way there as they head on down to Abbey Curve. So Martin Shirley in the way. He's got Ian Manners in 2nd. And in fact, not in 2nd for long though, because it looks like Chris Warner's just made it through. We saw how strong Chris's pace was in race 1, and we saw him bridge that gap as well in race 2 to the front pack. And you've got to think he's going to be breathing down on Martin Shirley. He's going to be one to watch for sure as we head down towards Stowe for the 2nd time in the race already down.
So yeah, 2nd lap underway. Gosh, still very close to Year 1 teammates. That is Andy McEwen and Michael Seal side by side. Seal's going to try and go down the inside, breaks later, makes it through, but will he push right? No, he won't. So Michael Seal past Andy McEwen. As we said, that Andy McEwen was singing the praises of Michael Seal in that second race, and he's gone past Andy now. A lot of curb there taken by Michael Seal on the entry into club, but Luke Pullen has gone down into 10th place as a result of that slowdown. We did maybe predict that could happen, but Chris Warner with the fastest lap of the race, a 109.635 in 2nd place as he looks to close down his teammate, and there's a car sideways. That's Ian Manners. There's been contact, and there's an even bigger contact. That was so very nearly a head-on collision there for one of the Year 1 cars, and as we say, that is that spread the pack up a lot, Reese. It's interesting to see if we can get a replay on that to see what happened, but it has shaken up the order.
Yes, cars scrambling everywhere. Fantastic reaction from all the drivers. Oh, and Ian Manners had some help there from Paul Cook. Paul Cook pushed him wide, and then everyone did very lucky. You got the spinning 88 Tech car there. I think that was Lee Holmes going round. He's dropped all the way back to P16, so a disaster for him. We're lucky we didn't have a much larger accident there, though. It could have very easily been a very, very nasty shunt all involved. Lots of virtual body parts could have been ruined. A very, very, very wide Audi RS3 there. That'll be, I think that's Reece Watt there that's gone very, very wide through Stoke Corner. He's going to have a painful slowdown to serve as well, much in the same way that we saw Luke Pullen did at the start. Luke Pullen, though, through all that, is back up to 8th. And Wayne Douglas, we've not spoken about him. Oh, Chris Warner gets the lead whilst we're going through all that as well. Action up and down the field, hard to keep track of here down, but looks like Chris Warner's sprinting away already.
Chris Warner going past Martin Shirley, the Pro-Am driver. Shirley, though, still leading that class and by quite a way. Craig Shield is the next Pro-Am driver in 7th. Wayne Douglas has gone up to 8th from, I think it was 18th on the 17th, 18th on the grid. He's now in 6th place. So if there was a Forever Forward award in this race, I think it would definitely be going to Wayne Douglas based on that first couple of laps. Fantastic racing, as we say, from the former single-seater ace and now, of course, team owner, who's started the careers and guided the careers of many, many good drivers in both GT racing and single-seaters. Of course, the team racing in I think it's GB3 and GB4 at the moment, as well as the Ginetta Junior Championship, which they have raced in previously as well. So as we see the battle further down, that is the Reece Watt car. Reece Watt has had 2 AM wins already tonight. He's looking to take a hat-trick. I don't think so far this season we've had a driver take all 4 wins in a subclass. So Reece going for that record. He is doing well in 10th place, despite that slowdown that we saw him have to take earlier. And just ahead of him, we've got Ian Manners, who'll be frustrated, I think, about that push from Paul Cook. And that's really the first bit of contact that we've seen with Paul Cook. But Ian Manners was making a move down the inside of Luke Pullen for 8th place and taking that, which is also 3rd in the Pro-Am class. We're looking at Luke Jones in the JW Motorsport Audi. That is currently 2nd in AM. So the JW Motorsport team are 1st and 2nd in those Audi RS3s. And those Audi RS3s really have been sort of the car to beat, I think, really, in the AM category, Reece. They've done really well. And I believe Chris Dixon on his debut for year 1 there as well, currently 5th in class.
Yes, fresh signing for the team. Graham Sets was very happy with it. We can tell in our ears. Chris Dixon currently running P16, head of last year's AM champion Fiona Siddons, who's currently running P17. She's 1 lap down as well. So we've got 16 runners still running. Obviously, we've got James Neave out for the evening as well. At the front, we've got Chris Warner. It's a full 2nd away now from Martin Shirley. He's breaking through. And we've currently got a Simtech Racing 1, 2 and 3, which just shows how strong they've been. Followed up by the 2-year 1 cars of McEwen and Seal, and the recovering Wayne Douglas in P6. But as I say, closest gap in our top 5 at the moment is the gap from 2nd to 3rd from Shirley to Cook. But yeah, Chris Warner, he's giving it legs currently. I think it's the phrase that gets used. But yeah, Simtech 1, 2, 3, formation flying here at Silverstone for them down.
I believe that'll be a first this season as well. We haven't had a team have a 1, 2, 3, but I believe we have actually had a team, so ignore me. So it is currently a 1, 2, 3, and then it's a 4, 5 for year 1 with Andy McEwen and Michael Seal in 4th and 5th. Wayne Douglas in 6th place has had a bit more luck in this race. Finds himself, as say, just rounding out our top 6 with Craig Shield in 7th, 2nd in Pro-Am, and Ian Manners is in 8th place, 3rd in Pro-Am. And it looked like there that Paul Cook trying to put Martin Shirley under a bit of pressure. The 2 Simtech racing cars fighting for 2nd place. And we have seen previously this season already Simtech utilising team orders. And I just wonder, Reece, if going down the Hangar Straight we will see a swap of positions of Paul Cook being the pro driver and Martin Shirley the Pro-Am driver. Shirley leading this class by a long way. And I predicted that. He's just going to do it now.
That's a shame. Hopefully they was going to have a race just there. But I suppose it is sensible. Paul Cook is leading the overall championship. And 2nd place in the championship, James Neave, is out for the evening. So it's a great opportunity tonight for Paul Cook to extend his championship lead so far. They've lost 7 tenths so behind to Andy McEwen, who's now just under a 2nd behind them. So they can't afford to synchronise too much there. But Paul Cook, I believe he finished... Did he finish 2nd in race 1? He finished 3rd in race 2. and he's currently second here in race 3. So he's had a very, very consistent night. Plenty of points for him just here. But say Andy McEwen back in P4. Obviously hoping to follow up on his win from race 2 here. So all evenly poised as we head towards our final 6 minutes of race 3.
And crucially, that battling, well, not battling, but the multi-21 between Cook and Shirley has actually allowed Andy McEwen to catch right up to the back of Martin Shirley. So Andy McEwen will be now surely in slipstream range of Martin Shirley. I think Martin Seal and Andy McEwen working together there. Doesn't look like Michael Seal is looking to make a move, because they know if they work together, they have got a chance to maybe attack at least one of those SimTech racing cars. So I believe that is the strategy that they are deploying at the moment. As we look at Craig Shield going quite wide into Stowe there. He is currently, though, second in the Pro-Am class. So a good drive from Craig Shield there as he breaks down in towards Club in the 88 Tech car. He's got Wayne Douglas ahead of him, and you follow the lines that Wayne Douglas has taken and sort of learn while he's behind Wayne. I think you'll find that you might find a little bit more time, because despite the fact that the results and the championship position might not show, I do think that sort of Wayne Douglas is definitely one of the faster drivers in the championship. As we said before, he just hasn't quite had that rub of the green, and when he's had a clear race, he has finished extremely well.
He has indeed, and we've almost got a reversal here, actually, looking at the front of our field from race 2. So in race 2, it was 3 Year 1 cars, followed by 2 racing cars. You've now got this almost like a Year 1 centipede, as it looks like Michael Seal is getting past Graham Sessford, screaming in our ears, "Why don't they bump draft? Why don't they bump draft?" So say, I think he wishes he was in a different chat right now, encouraging the team along. But yeah, a bit more formation flying just there from Year 1. Michael Seal flashing his lights. I don't know if he can hear us actually, but Michael Seal flashing his lights away as they head down to Vale. Just let you know he's there to Martin Shirley. That gap's 9 tenths now. But Wayne Douglas just under a second behind 2 Year 1 cars. And he's got to be thinking, you know what, maybe by end of the race, next 5 laps, I can get through them. Our closest battle, I think, on track at the moment, you've got Reece Watt currently 6 tenths behind Lee Holmes. Reece Watt still leading our AM category from Luke Jones. That's the JWM Motorsports 1-2 in AM as well. Obviously, Martin Shirley, Pro-Am in name, but to say he's pro in nature. Currently running P3 overall for Pro-Am. In overall, Pro-Am leader in our race down.
Yeah, maybe Michael Seal was flashing the lights as Graham Sessford unleashed his inner Gunter Steiner. So Michael Seal in 4th place, and to be fair to Michael Seal, since he's got past Andy McEwen, it does look like that maybe he does have a little more pace than the defending champion, and he is actually the fastest man on the track at the moment, Michael Seal. So he is now going to lead the Year 1 charge, and is right up on the back bumper now of Martin Shirley. So Michael Seal, with just under 3.5 minutes to go, will try and make an attack, I think, for the final step on the podium. Wayne Douglas is, as I say, he's closing in as Michael Seal, fastest lap of the race, 108.474. And I think in the last sort of 3 minutes of this race, we are going to see Michael Seal make an attack, and there Martin Shirley seems to be a little bit slower there coming out of Abbey, and at this point Michael Seal has got to be sizing up the SimTech driver. The 2 SimTech leaders starting to pull away a little bit from Martin Shirley, and what that is doing him is putting him into the claws of the Year 1 driver. Michael Seal now is pushing him through the Sessford corner. I almost call it the link there, Sessford corner, this broadcast, but still going down the hanging straight, and I think maybe he's that little push down in through Sessford corner. It may cost him, but I think he is going to go for the move here into Stowe.
He jinks right, he drinks left. It is Mansell PK all over again. As say, you can see him, he cuts back. Oh, a little bit of grass on the inside. Michael Seal is in full attack mode. Maybe the 2 Year 1 guys have decided between them that actually Seal might have a bit more pace in this race. Whoa, it's so close there on the way through Vale. He's all over him. Martin Shirley has got to be thinking, what do I need to do to keep this man behind me for the next 3 laps? It's multiple. You can see a little bit of damage now appearing on the rear of Martin Shirley. I'm pretty sure that wasn't there before, and I'm sure Michael Seal might have a bit of black paint transfer on his nose. All over him into Abbey. Will he have a lunge into Village? I think might be one of the better places on the track to overtake. Pokes out, and I say, Shirley brakes nice and late. Will he make the apex? Yes, he does. This is great racing, great entertainment here for the final step on the podium down.
Yeah, a bit of Morse code there from Michael Seal, and Martin Shirley won't be too impressed. He's going to invite him out for dinner before that assault from the rear. But Michael Seal has the slipstream now on the car of Martin Shirley as he goes down towards the back straight. And it is Martin Shirley and Michael Seal. But what this has also allowed is Andy McEwen to close in on the two. Then Michael Seal looking for an even closer move there, going through Stowe and in down through the Vale. And when they cross the line, it will be the last lap this time by. So this will be an opportunity. Goes for it now down the inside into Club. He's going to be forced out a bit wide there, clips the curb, slows them both down. Wayne Douglas now also in attention in 6th place. We've also got Craig Shield not too far behind as well. So on the final lap, we could potentially have a 4-car battle. That final podium place. Michael Seal, one of the oldest tricks in the books, trying to flash those lights. But Michael Seal does look progressively quicker than Martin Shirley there, going through Abbey, and as they break towards the village for the final time, it'll be interesting to see if he makes that lunge going to Stowe, because Reese does look much quicker than the Simtech driver in front of him.
Yes, he just seems to have a lot more confidence, but it's not been that easy to overtake here tonight. Timing screen's still showing 2 laps to go, and in fact my timing bulb is still showing that we've got 14 laps on offer here, so we'll see what flag we get at the line. Chris Warner's been utterly dominant, although Paul Cook has closed him on down a touch. Looks like Michael Seal's a little bit too far back this lap, so maybe if we are going to get a fight for the final podium position, it will all boil down to what flag we get just here. Yeah, as we come round, I don't know if I'm calling Chris Warner the winner just yet or not. But yes, checkered flag is ready to fly in the air. We've got confirmation from pits. Oh, there's a year 1 car off there. I think that's Andy McEwen that's gone off. But Chris Warner comes through to take the win. Paul Cook in 2nd. Shirley in 3rd. Seal in 4th. Craig Shill gets P7 or P6. We're not sure. We'll see. I'm not sure who's getting classified where. We'll let the timing screen settle down for a moment. Craig Shill gets classified P5. McEwen P6. And Wayne Douglas in P7. It was off camera there what happened. Hopefully we can get a replay of it. But all drama down into Vale. Our Pro-Am winner was Martin Shirley. And looking back down to our AM category, Reese Watt did manage to stay ahead of his teammate Luke Jones for a JWM Motorsports 1-2 in AM. So Reese Watt, his 3rd win of the night in AM. So he's going to be very, very happy. He got disqualified twice at Brands Hatch. But it's making amends for it here at Silverstone. But yeah, dominant performance from Simtech Racing, shutting out the podium with a 1, 2 and a 3. Bit of formation flying there. They need to leave some space for the cars coming through here on the cool-down lap. But no, a very, very strong showing there from Simtech Racing. But yeah, not sure what happened to Andy McEwen. He did only lose 1 spot, to Craig Shill. And we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, the more spots you lose at the end of a race, potentially the more spots you get. Here's a replay though. And say, oh no, Wayne Douglas from a long way back. Got that all wrong, I'm going to say. Punts Andy McEwen quite heavily into Vale. But no, I'm going to stop and catch my breath, Dan. And say a punchy end of race 3 there. And I say, blinking you'll miss it, because we are getting ready now for our final race of the evening.
I did wonder if there was contact between McEwen and Douglas, because they both lost time, and that replay does confirm it. And not a lot that Andy McEwen could do there, but with them finishing a little bit lower down, it could, in a weird way, help as we get ready for the final wheel spin of the evening. Graham pushes his favourite button, the wheel spin, as we look to see what it's going to be for this race. It's going to be, it looks like a 9. So 9th place puts Luke Pullen on pole position. So it is actually going to be a front row of Luke Pullen and Ian Manners, with Wayne Douglas and Andy McEwen on row 2. So Andy McEwen and Wayne Douglas will be starting next to each other for the final race of the evening. And very shortly, as I say, we'll have the results up from what was a thrilling 3rd race of the British Sim Racers Touring Cars from Silverstone International, the 11th race of the season. And Chris Warner taking a 2nd victory of the night on his 1st racing meeting of the season with us, with Paul Cook, the championship leader, in 2nd, and Martin Shirley 3rd, the Simtech Racing, with the 1, 2, 3. It'll be interesting as well to see what the championship positions are as well, going into the final race with James Neves issues. As we see there, are Simtech Racing 1, 2, 3, Warner, Cook, and Shirley. And that is how the podium goes. Behind them, in 4th place, was Michael Seal for year 1. Craig Shield with a good finish, his highest of the season, I believe, in 5th place, 2nd in Pro-Am. Andy McEwen 6th and Wayne Douglas 7th, following the collision that they had going into club on the final lap. Ian Manners 8th and Luke Pullen in 9th place. And Luke Pullen, of course, with that reverse grid pole. Lee Holmes rounding out the top 10 after he was involved in the incident earlier on in the race. In 11th place is Craig McDonald, with Reese Watt taking a 3rd AM victory of the night in 12th place. He'll be looking to get the complete sweep, the D4 in a row. Luke Jones was 2nd in that category, so JW Motorsport with the 1-2. Alistair Hatcher in 3rd. 4th and 15th overall is Andy Slocum. And Chris Dixon, another finish in the 16th place. In 17th was Fiona Siddons. She will take that. And in 18th place is Glenn Humberstone, and that is the final driver who he was not going to be classified in that one as he's be retirement. Being 11 laps down, Fiona will be able to start. In fact, it doesn't make a difference. The reverse, she will start 17th regardless. But as I say, JW Motorsport making a real impression in that AM class tonight. And as I said before, it'd be interesting to have a look at the championship tables, not just overall, but in the AM class, because it just seems recent, whenever we've looked in that AM class today, that the JW Motorsport team have been there or thereabouts. As we're about to see now, the championship table. And what it does show is that Paul Cook leads by a healthy margin of 80 points from his teammate Martin Shirley. Lee Holmes up into 3rd place. James Neve will be very disappointed that he's now dropped down to 4th place in the championship following his issues, but he will have that drop scoring number to count on. Ian Manners is in 5th place, with Luke Jones, the leading AM driver, 6th overall. Craig McDonald is 7th, with Luke Pullen in 8th. Alistair Hatcher is 9th and 2nd in the AM class, with Andy McEwen rounding out the top 10, despite the fact that he missed the meeting at the start of the season at Donington Park. So Andy McEwen putting himself into that top 10. And as we see, Wayne Douglas 11th, Rob Jackson 12th, so 13th. So we've had drawn for an equal tie for 12th place, Glenn Humberstone. And as I say, Reese Watt missed a meeting as well, actually, at the beginning of the season at Donington. So that may be a little bit artificial in terms of what the overall championship is in the AMs. But it's just something to see throughout the season, is just to see sort of when the drop scores come into play, how much of an effect they'll have on that overall championship. But I do believe as well, we will be very shortly going into our final break of the evening before we get underway for the final time tonight. And I do wonder if things will go bump in the night tonight as they did at Donington Park. But what we'll do, as I say, we will cut to a commercial break, and we'll see you very shortly indeed for round 4 of the evening. So get yourself a cup of tea, have a comfort break, whatever it is you want to do during this short break. And we'll see you next time in about 5-10 minutes. Good evening and welcome back to Year One TV. It is the voice without a face, Dan Blake, and alongside me, it is Reece Saunders. We are here ready for the final 15-minute encounter of the night here at the Silverstone International Circuit. We have had a cracking 3 races so far, with Chris Warner taking 2 wins and Andy McEwen taking a victory in race 2. The final race of the evening will see a 9-car reverse race, and it should bring some interesting racing as per usual, and Chris Warner, Paul Cook and Martin Shirley will have to do it from the back end of that top 10.
Yes, indeed, and they're going to have to get past those U1 cars of Michael Seal and Andy McEwen as well. And we saw them unable to do that in race 2. And we've got Ian Manners starting on pole position. Now, he had a shocker of a first lap when he started on pole position in race 2. So he'll be hoping to make amends for that and revisit some of that Brantac magic he had. And I say, alongside him, you've got Luke Bullen. And again, Luke had a really strong start to lap 1 in race 3. But again, he ran wide. He fell foul of that corner cut penalty in Stowe. And that caused him to drop back. So lots of people wanting to make amends. You've got Wayne Douglas and Andy McEwen starting side by side on row 2 as well. And we saw them have some pretty heavy contact down into Vale. It looked like Andy McEwen was a bit of a victim there. Wayne Douglas might have missed his braking point. It was quite a hard impact. I did notice, though, fair play by Wayne Douglas. He did, as I say, quite heavily impact Andy McEwen. But he did wait for Andy to rejoin before continuing on. So showing the fair play that is central to the BSR series. And Dan, it looks like we've got some stats for Paul Cook just here.
Yeah, so Paul Cook, our current championship leader, say 982 points. He, depending on what happens in this one, he should go over that 1,000 points mark. But his results have been very consistent this evening as well. He has 3 podium places from the 3 races, and we saw last season with Andy McEwen, it's that sort of consistency which wins championships. And as I say, 3 out of 3 podiums already this evening, and he's previous to that had already had another 5 podiums, so that is 8 podium finishes, as we say, after 11 races even. So very consistent scoring, and is yet to have a DNF as well. So staying out of trouble is Paul Cook. Well, I think we did see him involved in some contact potentially in that previous race with Ian Manners. So it could be that the clerks of the course have a look at this after racing is finished tonight. But provisionally, anyway, 3 podium finishes currently for Paul Cook, and out the 3 rounds that he has done with us in the BSR. Oh, very foggy here at Silverstone. Back to live pictures now, and that could have an effect on the race, and it does look very dark at Silverstone. Obviously, no threat of rain quite yet, although hashtag soon we may see a wet race in the BSR, and that'll be some spectacle to behold. But as the practice session comes to a close now, we do not have much left on it, about 3 seconds left to go, and then it will be racing for the final time tonight at the Silverstone International Circuit. The headlights will be a lot more prominent in this weather, and it doesn't look very nice conditions out there at all, does it, Reece?
No, not at all, as we're about to start gridding, so I'll take you through the grid in just a moment. But yeah, headlights will just be starting to take over. You probably noticed when we went to cameras, I've had to put my light on in here as well. So getting to the tail end of the evening here in race 4. But yeah, going through the grid, we've got about 45 seconds before we're lights out and away we go. It's Luke Bullen starting on pole, Ian Manners in P2, Wayne Douglas lining up 3rd on the grid, with Andy McEwen joining him on row 4. Craig Schill, after a strong finish in race 3, starting P5, with Michael Seal in P6. You've then got Martin Shirley, our prior winner, in P7, with Paul Cook and Chris Warner in P8 and 9. Lee Holmes, after having to take avoiding action from the spinning Ian Manners, in P10. And I say, here we are, so it's lights out in just a moment, Dan.
Yeah, so for the 12th time this season, the lights will go on very shortly. Lights go on. Lights are out now, and it is a good start from the front row by Luke Bullen. Has got in front of Ian Manners, so it's going to take lead. Wayne Douglas also with a good start, slots into 2nd place. So Bullen and Douglas are 1-2. Of course, Luke Bullen racing in real life in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship, so he will have some real life experience around this circuit as well, potentially. But it is Wayne Douglas in 2nd place for Douglas Motorsport. And of course, that Douglas Motorsport team, as we say, has paid some quite prominent names into motorsport glory in their younger days. You see the year one car behind him as well. Ian Manners dropped down a few places again at the start of the race, but they're side by side for the lead going into Stowe. And Andy McEwen is the driver in third place. And we saw the contact in the last race between McEwen and Douglas. But in this race, Wayne Douglas really looks like he wants to get past Luke Pullen quickly and start to pull away before maybe a little bit of a hot under the collar Andy McEwen gets to Wayne Douglas. Andy was not impressed when I spoke to him between races.
Andy McEwen is a cool customer though. It's unlike him to lose his rag too much. So I'm sure he's already let it go. But yeah, Wayne Douglas in a seat of year one cars. You've got Luke Pullen leading the way, not just overall, but also in our AM class. And then you've got Andy McEwen in P3, Michael Steele in P4, Ian Manners holding on a little bit better. He's in P5 and Craig Schill in P6. Paul Cook up to P7. And actually, Chris Warner, he's struggled to make any ground. He's actually dropped back to P10. He's fighting with Lee Holmes. Oh, is Lee Holmes getting a big swapper on? He might have had a bit of contact. He needs to be careful on that rejoin there. He controls it very well on the grass. It's like the Rallycross edition of the Touring Car Series here. He'll lose a lot of spots and a lot of momentum though. Chris Warner currently running in P9. So at the front, it's still Luke Pullen, although he has got plenty of company through Stowe Corner. Feels very tightly bunched up at the front. We've got a replay here actually of what happened between Holmes and Warner. Looks like Holmes defending the inside into Village, and then he just gets, is it a bit of a tap? Yes, there we go. Yeah, you got a bit of a tap there, and as I say, very impressive car control there from him, not to wipe out half the field as he comes back on after sliding across the grass. And we'll have the bit between his teeth now, trying to regain some ground. Reece Watt still leading AM. It's been the story of the night in that he's currently in P10. So he's doing very well there as well. He might potentially even clean sweep it. And say, but no, Dan, very finely poised as we head into fourth minute of the race.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it just showed there, Reece, as well, that the contact between Warner and Holmes, it was very, very light contact, but just where the car was downhill, it caused a massive effect there. But unfortunately, Lee Holmes has lost positions, but he did very well, to keep control of the car. Stop it for being a bigger accident. But Andy McEwen versus Wayne Douglas Part 2. Andy gets past him on the inside of Stowe. Michael Steele trying to follow through. Oh, there's a bit of a touring car style racing there for Michael Steele. Not afraid to use a bit of door banging. Oh, there we go. It's kicking off again between the year one drivers and Wayne Douglas. But Steele breaks later around the outside. That's a great move from Michael Steele into third place. Drops Wayne Douglas into fourth. And at the moment, we have a year one, 1, 2, 3 with the Pro-Am Luke Pullen in the lead, fastest that for Pullen, 109.556. Andy McEwen second, and Michael Steele in third. Fourth, Wayne Douglas. Ian Manners holding on well as well in fifth place in the Pro-Am. And in sixth place is the championship leader, Paul Cook.
Yes, very strong racing. And say anything Simtech Racing can do, year one can try and match at least with a 1, 2, 3 currently here in race 4. Although Paul Cook is very, very close, and we know he's had great pace all evening. And Wayne Douglas isn't one to give up without a fight. Let's say a fantastic move there from both of the year one cars, but especially Michael Steele. Rough and tumbled it up the inside into Stowe. Wayne Douglas, not a man to roll over easy. Gave him the door back on the run into Vale, and Michael Steele just simply broke later and drove around the outside. So very, very, very good racing between them. It'll be interesting what happens here. We've got Luke Pullen, who has had a solid enough night, but maybe hasn't quite got the pace of McEwen and Steele. And will there be any organised driving between the 3 year one cars, or will Steele and McEwen act as rear gunners, as they have done so far tonight? But say, looking great. Say, Wayne Douglas setting a 108.8, fastest lap of the race, one of the fastest laps we've seen in a race this evening as well. Looking very, very strong. He's not going to give up at all, Dan.
No, Wayne Douglas, one of the most fightiest drivers we have on the grid. Definitely a lot of heart there for Wayne Douglas. You'll see a battle between Chris Warner and Craig Schill. They're going side by side to Cessford Corner, and it is going to be Craig Schill who takes the position, although Martin Shirley not far behind as well, Chris Warner, and actually gets a better run because Schill and Warner actually held themselves up going through Cessford Corner. But what's happened there is that Shirley not being able to go through, and that's actually gone very wide into Stowe. Just behind him is the AM leader, Reece Watts, who has Alistair Hatcher in second place behind. So the AMs are 11th and 12th. That's like a big move there from Chris Warner on Craig Shield. Not able to get past, though. But the Simtech, a bit of smoke there ahead as well. That is Wayne Douglas. Wayne Douglas has had a moment. He's dropping down the timing screen, and there was some smoke there. So Wayne Douglas, he was looking in a good position. There he is. Drops down into now 13th place. And wonder if we'll be able to have a replay what happened. There we go, right on cue. It was contact between him and looks like Michael Sill. Yeah, Michael Sill. Michael Sill there with contact with Wayne Douglas. And as we say, we don't judge incidents here in the commentary box, but I think that one will be reviewed after the meeting.
Yeah, it could very well be a 6-1, half dozen of the other there. It looked like Wayne Douglas was giving no room to the car on the outside. And at the same point, it looks like Michael Seal didn't exactly open his steering wheel to avoid contact. So, yeah, the stewards will take a good hard look. And if there is any clear blame, I'm sure there may be action taken. Yeah, unfortunately, Wayne Douglas, as so often, loses out as a result of car contact and drops all the way back to P13, sandwiched between Craig McDonald and Fiona Siddons, our two Pro-Am drivers. But at the front, it's still a year 1, 2, 3. I mean, the order's changed ever so slightly. It's now Andy McEwen in the lead, potentially having his second race win of the evening here. And then we've got Luke Pullen in P2, still leading our Pro-Am category. Michael Sill riding out our podium. And Paul Cook still hasn't quite found a way past Ian Manners just yet. But I think they are the closest fight on track. Barely over a tenth of a second between the two of them. As I say that, Paul Cook goes up the inside of Ian Manners into Village. As I say, they pass across the loop. And as I say, it looks like Ian Manners will stay ahead as they head down into Cessford Corner onto the Hanger Straight just there. I'll have a word with the BRDC and see if we can get that corner officially renamed. Apparently Cessford has enjoyed one too many evenings actually on the outside of that corner, hence why he thinks it deserves to be named after him. But as I say, heading in, Chris Warner has got the fastest lap of the race as well, a 108.4, which is even quicker than what he managed in qualifying. So he's got the bit between Stephen. He's got Paul Cook just in front of him, not quite close enough under braking. You've got to feel like Ian Manners might be the cork in the bottle here for the two Simtech cars, and they've shown mighty pace all night. But yeah, 6 minutes to go, Dan.
Yeah, Ian Manners is actually, as you say, the cork in the bottle, but it's allowing the one drivers ahead maybe to make a little bit of a breakaway, because when the Simtech drivers go past Ian Manners, which based on results this season is probably more likely to happen than not, you think that they will try and catch up to those year one drivers ahead. There's quite a good battle though between, as you say, you got Ian Manners, and we have Paul Cook, Chris Warner, Craig Schiller, Martin Shirley involved in that one as well. So a big battle, and that's a good run out of the corner there for Paul Cook out of Cessford Corner. And you've got to feel that this would be a chance for the Lancia to get past that Veloster of, as you say, the Veloster of Ian Manners. Looks to the inside now, brakes later. It is going to be a pretty much cut and shut move on the inside. But what it does, though, of course, is that it opens up into Club Corner, and Ian Manners has the inside line. Will Cook brake later? No, he won't. Fantastic defending from Ian Manners. We saw that happen at Brands Hatch as well when he was in a similar position at the front of the field. But he's had a very poor exit into Club. A little bit of a nudge there from Paul Cook to the back of Ian Manners. And Ian Manners is very good at defending, but I don't think quite as we say the results show, doesn't quite have the pace of these Simtech racing drivers, and it is starting to show when Paul Cook, as they go into Village for the 9th time, let's stay inside, he makes a mistake this time, surely, although Ian Manners is brave again round the outside, bit of contact between the pair of them, and as they go through the loop into Cessford Corner again, Ian Manners holds the position. Fantastic defending race from Ian Manners, bravely fighting off the Simtech drivers.
Yeah, you can see he's got the English flag on his car. He's showing all the bravery of St George, facing down the dragons that are the two Simtech racing cars just here, and he's got them all over him. And again, Paul Cook is throwing everything out, and they're going 2 versus 1 now. Warner trying to go around the outside, Cook trying to go up the inside just there, and still Ian Manners holding them both off. He has the widest Honda velocity in the field just there. We see a little bit of tyre smoke actually. That looked like it came from Michael Seal just in front in the year 1 car. He's still behind Pullen, Luke Pullen showing strong in Prime in P2 currently. Andy McEwen, he's checked out, he's off down the road. But I say our real action is, can Ian Manners keep defending like beavers, holding off these two Simtek cars? He's now got Paul Cook up the inside into Abbey. He'll then have the longer run round farm, but say he'll have the inside corner here through Village. But we've shown he just can't get the move complete. It looks like he might there, but again, Ian Manners will have the inside for the loop, then into Cessford corner. He can brave it around the outside, as he does just there once again. And once again, Ian Manners just absolutely unflustered. He's now got a trio of Simtek racing cars behind him. They're bump crafted, they're throwing everything they can. They're throwing not just the contents locker, they're throwing lead locker at him. And yeah, Ian Manners, I'm not sure he's noticed behind him yet, actually. He's completely unflappable. What driving, Dan?
Yeah, if I see Ian Manners, I wouldn't want to be looking in that rear mirror at the moment, because it's probably quite a scary sight to see these three Simtek racing cars barreling towards Stowe. But Ian Manners had best run out of club that time, further back. And Martin Shirley's made the pass on Craig Shield as well, which does make it 3 Simtek cars in a row, 5th, 6th and 7th. And what I said would happen is actually happening, where Ian Manners is keeping the Simtek racing boys occupied. What it's meant is that the 3 Year 1 drivers at the front of the field are able to pull away. The gap between Seal and Manners is up to 2 seconds, and Cook now has got to think about a different tactic, because he's tried the same one about 2 or 3 laps in a row, hasn't got very far with it, and in fact this time Ian Manners has had a stronger part of the lap and has not been able to even challenge. Paul Cook's not even had to challenge. You see Martin Shirley going wide there on the grass in the background as we look on board with Ian Manners in the Samsoy Dungeon car in 4th place. Warner and Cook, I wonder if they'll switch places potentially in a minute. If Paul Cook not get past, maybe give Chris Warner the opportunity to see if he's able to get past the Veloster. Of course, Warner 2 wins already this evening, but at the moment they are staying in the same positions as they are. Cook staying in line behind Manners on this occasion, not looking to make an attack. But what we have seen previously is that the Lancia gets a little bit better off a club corner, and it has done so again on this occasion. Just pulls half a car length. That half a car length can make all the difference. And Cook maybe even trying to shake this move already up into Village corner. It was to get Abbey right, and Manners, anything, pulls just a little bit on the entrance of Abbey. I don't think Paul Cook is close enough have a proper lunge, although he's probably going to try it. No, he's not. So, as I said, Paul Cook wasn't close enough to make a move which percentage-wise he thought he was able to make successfully. So has pulled out of it as Ian Manners continues this fantastic drive in 4th place. And as we said at Brands Hatch, one of the drives of the season came from Ian Manners, and he's proving again that when you put him at the front of the field, he can defend from some of these top drivers in the championship. As they go down towards Stowe, Cook looking to go to the outside, to go try and get down the inside at Stowe, but no luck doing. And with just over a minute to go in this race, this could actually be the final lap.
Yes, and say fantastic action so far. Ian Manners looking absolutely unflappable. What Paul Cook needs to do, he needs to set him up. He needs to be very, very close. He needs to try and make Ian Manners defend into Village, but instead of attacking, he needs to just stay glued to his bumper all the way through. Cessford corner is going to be absolutely key. Who gets the best run out of it? Like long drag down the hanger straight into Stowe corner. That'll be Paul Cook's best opportunity, at least in my opinion. It's good to have a look at Andy McEwen, because say he's and as exactly that. Ian Manners has to defend into Village there, and as I say, Paul Cook right with him. This will go down to the wire. You've got the battle between the 2 Year 1 cars there of Seal and Pullen just in front as well. So this should get very, very spicy. And say, Dan, talk us through the final few corners of this evening's race meet.
Might need to take a breath of fresh air after this, because it is going to be quite an intense end, I believe. Andy McEwen, though, 3 seconds clear. Won't know what's going on behind us. He goes down to the inside. Paul Cook, he's not quite level on entry, but as they go through the corner, he is more level, and they're side by side as they go through Stowe. They're now going through the Vale. It's going to be who can break latest and get into the corner. Ian Manners is going to do it. He's going to defend that 4th place, but we're about to have a chat with Andy McEwen, I believe, and he is going to take the 2nd victory of the night in round 12 of the championship. It goes to Andy McEwen. Luke Pullen 2nd and takes the Pro-Am win. 3rd place is Michael Seal. 4th and 2nd in Pro-Am goes to Ian Manners. What a great drive from Ian Manners, holding off the mighty Simtek of Paul Cook, Chris Warner and Martin Shirley. As Graham Sessford says in the production, there was a driver of the day. I think we give it to Ian Manners just for that drive. And taking 4 out of 4 in the AMs is Reece Watt, and that is the first time this season that a driver has taken 4 wins in their respective class. So a great night's racing for Reece Watt at the home of British Motorsport. Sees him finish in 9th. Wayne Douglas in the top 10 following what happened with the contact of Michael Seal. As the JW Motorsport boys celebrate what is a first and third in AM. Luke Jones finishing 13th overall, third in AM. But it's going to be Andy McEwen taking the spoils for the second time tonight. He has shared 2 wins apiece between himself and Chris Warner. It's a year 1, 1, 2, 3 in that final race of the evening. And it's a second 1, 2, 3 as well from a team, of course, who saw Simtech take the 1, 2, 3 in the previous race. And yeah, well, as you said earlier, Reece, anything we can do, anything you can do, shall I say, they can do just as well, not better.
Yeah, no, they'll be very, very delighted with that. And I say, what a race, what an evening of entertainment as well. It's been great fun calling it, as I say. They've matched the BSR MX-5s blow for blow and race for race here. I'm really looking forward to having a chat with Andy McEwen. I wonder what view he got out of his rearview mirror of the goings on in that final race. But two wins for him, 2 wins for Chris Warner as well. I would say no wins for Paul Cook, but again, even though he didn't get on the podium here in race 3, P5, solid championship points for him, so he'll be happy with that. I can't wait until we rock on round to Snetterton for round 4 of the championship next week at the Snetterton 300. A tight, twisty, technical infield with some drafting opportunities, and then some absolutely classic high-speed committed corners in the final sector. Dan, I'm sure you've probably got some onboards of you doing it in your MX-5 in real life. Of your Snetterton, I'm sure you're looking forward to that. But no, what a night! What are your thoughts?
It's been a fantastic night of racing. Silverstone International, we thought would produce that close racing, and it has done so. And speaking of Snetterton 300 next week, I will just drop this on you, Reece. I will be racing on Tuesday night in the MX-5, so you'll have the chance to critique my display on track. It's one of the 2 rounds that I'm doing as a guest driver in preparation for taking part in the MX-5 Super Cup later this season. So I'll be joining the grid on Tuesday. But less about me and more about the action tonight. We have seen, as I say, great racing all along. And with the reverse grids, it has done it exactly what they say on the tin. It's shaking things up. And particularly in that last race of Ian Manners, the drivers further back have found that it has not been easy to get back to the front of the field. We've seen 2 team 1, 2, 3s with the Simtech taking race 3, 1, 2, 3, and year 1 taking 1, 2, 3, and also a faultless display in AM from Mr. Reece Watt as well. 4 wins out of 4, and he's making a very strong claim for the AM Championship, despite the fact, as I say, he missed the first round. He'll take that as a drop week, but that is what you need to be doing in British sim races to win championships, is making a real name for yourself like that.
Yeah, no, and it was a fantastic night. I can see actually just looking across at the YouTube comments, Adam Fox cheering on Andy McEwen, Grumpy Dad, happy that Year 1 TV's back, and saying down on the mic, so he shout out to you there. Snicky shouting out to Luke Pullen saying he's the GOAT. Rob Jackson questioning if Ian Manners is actually driving for Year 1 this season. But no, so thank you very much for engaging there, folks. I'm not sure where Andy McEwen is. I'm sure he's cooling down, but we've got the podium just here. We've got Andy McEwen on the top step of the podium for the second time tonight. Luke Pullen in P2 with Michael Seal in 3rd place, rounding out the podium just there. So a full Year 1 podium. So well done there, chaps. As we then look on through to the rest of the results. Just wait for them to load. There we go. We've got Ian Manners in 4th, defending brilliantly from Paul Cook. Right there. Paul Cook in 5th place. Chris Warner in 6th. Martin Shirley in P7. Craig Schill in P8. Another strong drive from him. And then Reece Watt rounding out a clean sweep of victories in AM. Wayne Douglas, the unluckiest man in BSR, in P10. And as we scroll over to the second page, you've got Craig McDonald in P11. Alistair Hatcher in P12. Luke Jones 13th. Glenn Humberstone having a better race in race 4 there, P14. Andy Slocum P15. Jonas Siddons in P16. And then Chris Dixon in P17, with Lee Holmes unfortunately DNFing in P18. So we've got Andy McEwen lined up, so I hope you've got some questions prepared for him, Dan. But yeah, so Andy, can you hear us? Are we too soon?
No, I can hear you. Hi guys, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Andy. A good night of racing for you. It's 2 wins for you, your first 2 of the season. You missed the first week at Donington, but results like this will help you towards the end of the season get involved in the championship hunt. What were the bits about tonight that you enjoyed the most?
Well, it's been quite a tough night actually. I wasn't really feeling very competitive tonight at all, but then as the track temperatures cooled off as the races have gone on, I slowly started to feel a bit more in my groove, and managed to pick up 2 great wins. So obviously that's very much the highlight, and a huge thanks to all of my teammates, because they all played a part in that. Michael Seal was a fantastic rear gunner in the second race, I think it was, where I got the first win. And then Luke, in that last race, he didn't fight me at all. He saw me coming on the inside line and just sort of left the door open for me. So, big thanks to them. And, hopefully not the last of the winning that I get to do this season.
No, definitely not. What we're seeing, Andy, as well, as we pass the quarter mark of the season, is that it seems to be it's a Simtech versus Year 1 battle for supremacy at the top of the championship. Both teams very fast, and as I said at the start of the broadcast, out of the top 8 that qualified, any one of those could have taken a victory tonight. It just shows how competitive it is at the top of the BSR TC this season.
Yeah, it's funny because you have one race where they would score really well and they'd lock out the podiums, and then we'd sort of do it in the next race. So it's going to come down, I think, this season more than ever to mistakes and who makes the fewest mistakes, because there aren't as many cars on the grid, which I actually prefer. I think the racing is better because of that, because there's a little group of us at the front who are so evenly matched. And if you have the chance to win a race and you mess it up, that's really going to cost you more this season. So, I'm enjoying the battle with them. They're tough racers, but they know just how hard to push it. They don't really do anything too dirty when you're racing wheel to wheel with them, which I like. And, looking forward to more battles as the season goes on.
And obviously, with winning the championship last year, does that bring any sort of additional pressure on yourself, knowing that you're the driver that everyone's looking to beat this season as well, of course?
Yeah, I always quite like the idea of carrying number 1 on the car, but it's just kind of there as a constant reminder now that I've got a big target on my back and everyone's trying to beat me. So I might not do that again if I'm lucky enough to win another championship. But it's a nice feeling, really. I never expect. I've only been sim racing for 18 months. I never expected to have won something by now, and it's quite nice to have people looking at where I am trying to beat me. But at the end of the day, it's a new season. There's lots of new drivers now. Chris and Paul are new to the championship, so it's almost like a clean slate, really. And I just go out and try and do as best as I can in every race. And if we can be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, mainly for the teams championship, really. Now we've got a big team of Year 1 drivers, both in the MX-5s and the TCRs. I really want us to try and do well in the teams championship if we can.
Well done, Andy. A great night of racing. I'll hand you over to my commentary partner, Reese Saunders. Reese, have you got any questions you'd like to ask Andy?
I mean, you've only been racing on Sims for 18 months, but you are definitely Cheshire's answer to Ayrton Senna. I was just wondering what your thoughts are, actually, regarding the contact you had at the end of race 3 with Wayne Douglas. It seemed like he came from a long way back with that.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Assessment won't be drawn.
It's difficult. Though. It's difficult because obviously Wayne operates in real world motorsport as well. So if I start slagging him off on here, then I'm going to bump into him at Spa in a couple of weeks' time. That could be a bit awkward. But no, it's fine. He apologised after the race. It's all good fun. But we like a bit of drama, don't we? We like a bit of tension. So it's the second time he's got me this season. So I feel like I owe him at least one back now.
I think here's your drink, Andy, as well.
Yeah, well, I do like Belgian beer, Wayne, if you're watching. So, I'll take you up on that.
Excellent. Well, I think that's it from us. But no, thank you very much. It's always great to talk to you, Andy. Looking forward to commentating on you in the MX-5s. A bit of advance warning, though. We've got a wild card entry in Tuesday night's racing. My commentary buddy is entering. So if he's messaging you for any tips on an MX-5, Dan Blake will be joining you on Tuesday night. So, watch your doors. And, Stetson 300 should be a great fight again. Looking forward to it.
Hey, I've seen Dan race. I think I'll be going to him for advice, not the other way around. But, that's good news. Looking forward to seeing you out there, Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Looking forward to it.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Thank you, Andy. So that is Andy McEwen, a double race winner for tonight. So what we'll do as well is we'll see what impact the third meeting of 10 this season has done for the championship. And as we see, Paul Cook now leads the championship by an ever-increasing margin. The gap between himself and Martin Shirley in second is now 84 points. But Ian Manners, after his display partly in that fourth race, and of course he's been quite consistent throughout the course of tonight. He has taken 2 Pro-Am wins. It's moved him up to third in the championship overall, closely followed by Luke Pullen in fourth place, who is the second in the Pro-Am. But Luke Jones in fifth place, the Am driver, is tied with Lee Holmes. You saw Lee have that unfortunate retirement in the last race following the contact in that one. James Neve in seventh place, another driver who has had the good and the bad luck this evening in racing. Of course, that technical issue stopping him from racing it stopped him in race 2, 3 and 4. Craig McDonald in 8th. Double race winner Andy McEwen up into 9th place in the championship, as I say, despite missing a week. So Andy, when it comes to drop scores, we're there or thereabouts, and Alistair Hatcher, the second Am driver, rounds out the top 10 currently in the Drivers' Championship. As we'll have a look now. We were talking about Andy McEwen, 9th in the championship, and we'll have a look and see. So with what's happened, so I can see it did not start the first meeting of the season. Andy was doing commentary in real life in TCR, so that's why he missed the first meeting at Donington. Was at Norris Ring, having an enjoyable weekend in Germany. But as we see, he is in the championship on drop scores. I believe that is fourth place with 690. In fact, that's fourth in the pro category. My mistake there. But it's 8 starts and 2 wins and 5 podium positions. We know that Andy McEwen is a driver who's relied on his consistency and been able to get the wins when he can, Reese. And that's what he's done so far this season. He's entered 8 races and he has had 5 podiums and 2 wins.
Yeah, he's been very strong. And I think once we start to factor in those drop scores, again, he'll catch up towards Paul Cook. That being said, though, Paul Cook, he's had an average finish of third, we saw after race 3. Andy McEwen, 3.38, though. So you can see that even once you do factor in those drop scores, he will be still slightly behind in the championship, but it will be a bit close, and it will hopefully give Paul Cook some competition, because at the minute, on total points, he's running away with it, with Martin Shirley, his Simtech teammate, in second. Bossing Pro-Am as well. I think we have got another interview lined up, actually. I'm not sure who we've got, so we're about to have as far as I'm getting in my ear, it's going to be Fiona Siddons joining us here for an interview, Dan.
Good evening, Fiona. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dan, I can hear you. I wanted to come in. I thanked the other night in the MX5s. I wanted to pop in especially to thank you as well, Dan. You're doing a great job with the commentary, mate.
Thank you very much, Fiona. And this evening's races at Silverstone, how did they go for you? I saw you having some fierce battling over the course of the evening. Do you enjoy yourself out there?
I enjoyed it, but I've had better days. Crashed in race 2, and then the paddle shift for the clutch was slipping the clutch in practice, so I swapped it from the left-hand side to the right, and went to the left, pulled first gear and jumped forward.
Oh no, it's when you make changes like that, it takes a little while, doesn't it, to sort of get that muscle memory and to remember it. But so, as you say, you were the Am champion last season, Fiona, up into Pro-Am for this season. How do you feel about the challenge of competing in that Pro-Am class now?
I think I'm outclassed, but I'm enjoying trying to keep with them.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Fiona. What any highlights in particular from tonight's racing at Silverstone?
Not really. It's one to forget, I think.
Thank you very much, Fiona. I'll hand you over now to my commentary colleague, Reece Saunders. Reece, have you got any questions for Fiona?
I do indeed. Obviously, with 3 races in the books, or 3 race meetings in the books so far, Fiona, we've got 6 rounds left. Obviously, we're at Snetterton, Monza, Knock Hill, and then we're back to Silverstone, Donington Park, and then finish the season off at Brands Hatch. Which meeting are you looking forward to the most here as we're in our final 6 rounds?
I'm looking forward to Knock Hill. I love that track.
Very well, we'll be keeping an eye out for a strong showing from you just there, leaping across the curbs, I'm sure. But yeah, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, well, you three who's doing the stream, my son who will be watching online, so shout out to him as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much again for your time. I think we're just running out of time now this evening on stream. I say, if you haven't already, please do hit that like button on the video. Also, hit the subscribe as well to see when we go live. We will be back on Tuesday night at the same time. I'll be joined by Jack Oliphant. As I say, we're doing the 8 p.m. start time for the qualifying for the BSR MX-5s. You got confirmation out of the calendar. We'll be Snetterton 300 next. And we will have Dan Blake, racing for us as well. So getting the other side of the catch fence, putting his mic down for a steering wheel. You mentioned you're at Snetterton. Where are you racing for your second wildcard appearance of the season? Have you got that planned out yet?
Yeah, Donington Grand Prix. That's when those are the 2 meetings. It's going to be Snetterton 300 and Donington GP. So bit of space between them. But yeah, looking forward to racing in the BSR. It's been quite a while actually since that I've raced in the BSR. So looking forward to it and seeing what the level of competition's like. I hear it's been very very close at the front. So I'm not actually expecting to sort of be near the front. As I say, it's the first time I've done it in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see where I stack up really in the competitive field.
As someone that's rubbed bumpers with you in the past, Dan, I'm pretty sure you'll be somewhere near the sharp end of the grid. Pretty much straight away. I'm sure a bit of practice. Well, you always practice hard, so you'll be there. You'll be sending it. You're the wild card. You've got nothing to lose. They've got everything to fear from you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As I say, I'm Rhys Saunders, and I've loved bringing this broadcast to you tonight. And I say, really enjoyed being joined by Dan Blake as well.